we'll do Saturdays.
Is that Public Works scheduled for 9?
Thank you, ma'am.
9:30?
You're welcome.
Actually, had Public Works.
What
scheduled
what
for
is
9:30, so
emergency
we're good.
management, what page is it?
85.
We're gonna discuss today.
I mean, because we originally signed up for 5 years and that was over this year.
It's over, okay.
Well, but they went ahead and signed up again until March of '24. So then it's year by year now, basically. Is the way I understand it. I really don't know nothing about it. I don't use it. I don't.
They tore the wall out. And that's what
Come on, Jeffrey.
Ready?
Yep, we're ready.
Okay.
Time's a wasting. It's 60 degrees outside today, it's supposed to be, you know.
Nope.
Ring.
Good deal.
All right, we will do emergency management. You should have been here yesterday because today we added more to your budget.
Added more?
Possibly,
Oh. Well, you missed
more
the
expense.
kids. The kids had a
Expense,
lot of
yes.
fun. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm good with that.
Okay.
Page 85. I mean, we went through it yesterday. I don't think there was a lot of questions other than the commission would just, they want to take that third person, the requested additional person off the budget. Correct.
Until it germinates, if, you know, if it ever germinates, then.
Well, if you get a grant or something for another
Yeah.
person, then we can always do a court order. Thank you.
Yes.
Yeah, we can just add it back
So-
if it happens.
I don't know if that will be a possibility, and especially under the constraints we have with the MOU to make sure the city also is able to contribute. I think that was our problem with the '23 budget and why we weren't able to, have that position filled.
So when and if that position would become available, then we will put it back in.
Is there, because I know there's things that we do with like grants, that kind of, position that might actually be beneficial throughout the rest of the county. And I know I've helped like other departments, Brian and things. Would there be any possibility to maybe have a position where there's a grant specialist or something like that?
For writing grants, I mean, we just talked with EMS about their contracting out Lexipol. That's what you're talking about?
I'm not familiar with what Lexipol does, because I know they're a big company, but if it's that grant management and the applying and stuff, then maybe something like that. But I was thinking of internally, maybe not contracting.
I think we got RPC, memo RPC we can use if this Interpol, with Lexipol.
Oh, Lexipol.
And J.C.
I mean,
Rep.
I think if there's it's a grant that you need help writing, but I think that's part of your position is to be writing these grant requests, and then that's also why Tracy's there, is to help you. I'm not necessarily wanting to add a person. I don't think it's needed in that department. I mean, and if we need help too, I'm sure we can, if it's a big grant like that, the sheriff or JCPD, fire department, a lot of them, if it's gonna help them, I'm sure they'll help out and facilitate in whatever ways are possible, because especially if it's a big grant.
You find some grants, we'll find somebody to write it. I mean,
Do we piggyback off that Lexipol?
yeah,
See how it goes for
it's
them.
kind of like
See
the
it
2
right.
million we found, that just came through on my computer one day. And it's like, and the same with the tribal monies, it just popped up. But yeah, there are grants out there we need to be applying for. And so you go out, find us some grants, we'll find a grant writer if need be.
Okay, well, that's it. I was able to listen in yesterday to the recording, and so I don't have any other questions.
We're gonna look at rave.
Look
Can you
at.
work with that company? Can you get us some statistics on that?
I have access if you want to see the statistics. I don't have, I might have in some of the old archived emails a contact, but that's typically done through the city and Chad. Yeah.
Just some statistics on how many people actually use it.
Yeah.
And just send it to those three.
Do you get the alerts? Are you set up? Oh, set yourself up on it. I mean, it's, I don't know, I kinda like it.
It's a vital program, you know, and we have added to it since I've been here in adding IPAWS, you know, Integrated Warning and Preparedness System. I'd have to look at the acronym, but, and that's a federal program so that it's non-voluntary alerts. So if we have, you know, my worry is if we were to have a chemical spill and we would need to evacuate, the system as it was you could only send alerts to people who had signed up for the system. Currently, IPAWS allows us to do non-voluntary, so I can send it to every cell phone that enters this county, whether they're a resident or not. Unfortunately, that is only controlled and maintained by emergency management, so that's something that I've been working on to try to get other people involved in, because, again, 3 in the morning is a tough time to try to formulate a message to people that, you know, is giving them the ability to understand what the situation is and act.
Okay,
All right, well, thank you all very much.
Thank you.
thanks, sir. Public Works Director Eric Landwehr.
Read the paper along.
Let me go grab Matt.
What page are we on?
Depends on what you want to start with.
I already talked to Matt, he said he's fine with whatever I wanna do. As far as you know he is.
Whatever order you want to go in. we'll-
Can I wait just a second? I'll grab
Sure,
that.
yeah.
Let him know. He's in there making copies.
Oh, I got it. He gets it, sorry.
Oh, he printed it, all right. I'll print it away, he's got very simple.
Yeah, I saw the email too, but that's the same thing again.
Okay, good.
We starting like back in the public works area? You gonna do planning first, or what do we
It's
got?
up to you. What do you want?
Well, we can go down the list, you got it all under 211 and then 175.
I was not here for this last year, so if you could let me know what process you want to go through here, or what's the format?
Just go through each department budget again, and
Okay.
and, if the commission has any questions, and we just want to start with, what's the first one in the book? Is it planning or parks?
Parks is 172. I don't know the
Where does
page number.
planning start? Where is that?
87 if you wanna go to parks first.
Okay, well, okay, well, I'm at 87, so.
Is that what you're gonna do?
Parks, yeah. I think on parks, you wanted to up the vehicle equipment operation to 10,000?
To 10,000, yes, that's correct. And that's just fuel usage and equipment repairs.
Okay,
And we were tracking over what we had budgeted last year
yeah,
by about 2,000, so.
okay. You good with that?
Which line are we on?
Vehicle equipment operation, the second last under materials and supplies.
53,299.
He's requesting to go up to 10.
Yeah,
Is that okay, everybody? Okay, all right. And then salaries, salaries just kind of, you.
I'll have a
You have
general.
4% plus a 1%, so, we can talk about salaries kind of at the end. or-
So as we're going through, and yeah, salaries, let's just talk about that at the
Oh,
end.
okay.
If you don't mind, if we could just cover that, so.
yeah.
Okay. And where is planning's earlier, in the book. Where is that? Good.
Planning, 51.
51, thank you. 52. You know, and salaries, I didn't make any notes on that.
I didn't have any
changes you want
requested changes.
requested?
The only thing to track will be the permit revenue. And as we talked about the other day with the potential increase in building permit fees based on the new calculator, and then OpenGov, generally what we've heard is with the implementation of OpenGov, you generally see more people coming in compliance with getting building permits, which that can cause that number to rise as well. It's budgeted at 85,000, and we'll just track it and see where we go. But I don't want to make any changes based on anticipated amounts right now because it's too early to tell what that'll be.
Yep.
Leave it
Yeah,
as
I
is.
mean, y'all said like in 21, when y'all were tracking it for that 2 years, it had kind of been about a 20% difference. I don't think I'd worry about changing it. We can just put actual numbers in.
Just leave it like it is, and when we get to next year this time, we'll have better data on how it's going, and we can adjust it
Could be
then.
a slow year and it may not be that much difference.
You just don't know, right? So,
Questions on planning? Any questions on planning?
wanna go to maybe-
Go back to Public Works.
let's go to sales tax.
You wanna go back to sales tax?
Yeah, let's do
first?
sales
Okay.
tax.
122?
That's, do you have anything on 806, right?
I did have something on
Yeah, yeah,
806,
we had
that
something to add on 806.
We, what pages is that on?
Well, like the chart is
The chart.
118, and
Which one, sales tax, or we're going somewhere to?
sales tax,
I
yeah.
wanna talk
So
about
122? Is that
sales
the right
tax,
place?
but
Actually, 118, that.
118?
Hours.
Yeah, the courthouse sales.
Courthouse, the 15%.
Okay.
the
All right.
806. We did have some items in there that we were requesting. I can go through them real quick. We, for the Public Works facility, $25,000 for an oil burning furnace for the central maintenance shop. We would burn our own oil generated from oil changes, so this would actually result in some savings in propane costs over the long term.
And we actually have to pay
Wait.
all the oil off right now, so by us buying it in-house, we wouldn't have that expense no more also.
So, we had requested 50,000 for PS&E, plant specification estimate for addition to the central maintenance shop.
Oh, it's already on there.
You have that on there right
That's
now,
what you
yes.
put on this additional.
Yeah, so
that
what
we
I-
already had on there. Okay.
What I would like to do with that is, as we have been talking the past month or so, investigating the potential of building wash bay, an enclosed wash bay. We had originally thought maybe that would be in addition to the small building, the smaller of the two buildings that are at our facility. We're thinking that we want to add this to the main facility on the other side, or in addition to this new addition that we're requesting design on. In doing that, we would want to add another $50,000 for that design or architectural cost. And that would be for the design of just a building addition for central maintenance, and then a wash bay. The wash bay would be added to the very end, and it would have drive-through capability, and the drive-through would open up to Monticello Road. So somebody could pull in on our side if they wanted to drive through, open the door, go on out and be on the road. Back out, just like any other garage door or anything at the shop.
So then you're not looking at, you're not looking at doing the other, because at one point we were just gonna build something over by where the old convenience store was.
We're still pursuing that. But when we do that, the main facility we have now would be central maintenance. That would all go central maintenance.
But would you be adding a wash bay at the new spot
We-
too?
We want to keep it down at central maintenance.
So that wash bay will stay there, but there won't be one at the
No.
new spot. The other spot will be like a headquarters.
Be
Office.
main office, indoor truck
Okay.
parking.
Yeah, that's what I was asking, if the,
Mhm.
because I thought we had a wash bay up here, so now you're just moving it to be a part of the central maintenance. Okay.
We've talked about that at length and felt it would be best suited to be right there at central maintenance. That's where they're working on equipment, they can wash things. Fuel pumps are
Yeah, I don't have
others,
a problem
county
with it going
departments.
there, just,
Yeah.
yeah. you know,
So, and this would
change
be
it.
something like, say, the sheriff's deputies could wash their Ambulances, I know they wash by hand. I
Yeah.
like, they're kind of like the fire department, they do that, so. But other county vehicles can use a wash bay and,
Depends on their water pressure. Last one we had knocked all the decals off.
Yeah.
25 cents per 42 seconds.
I would suspect that we could adjust
Or
that.
whatever
depending
it
on
is.
what's in there.
Good.
you
We
know,
gotta put a quarter machine down there. That would.
Oh, great.
We haven't had we had a wash facility, or wash, I wouldn't call it a bay, but we had a ability to wash at our facility, but it's been shut down for 10 years because it drained directly to the creek. So that's been years and years ago, we turned that off, and so we haven't been able to wash effectively at our facility. We have to go into town, which is okay, but it's very inconvenient, and,
The city's doing the same thing.
yeah.
How long do you have to sit in line at
Well, after a
times?
snow, it can be a while, and it can
Pretty
take a
in-
whole day to deal with that.
Yeah.
so this will be for our big trucks and everything.
Everything.
Yeah, it's good.
Yeah, we've checked around different facilities and know about what size it needs to be. It'll have jets coming out of the floor, which can shoot underneath and clean off
Yeah.
salt and everything else.
So we don't have all the rust like we did on Jordy's truck.
It, anytime you're around salt like we are, you're gonna be more susceptible to it, no matter how good you try to clean it, but yes, it'll definitely help. And this is just for design costs to come up with a plan and get an estimate of what it would cost. Ideally, we'd have those numbers early enough to start thinking of if we want to build that in the next budget year.
You gonna look at just a single bay?
For the wash bay, yes.
It's gonna be enough.
Well,
At times, it'd be nice to have more, but it wouldn't justify spending that much more on the second one.
we used to do fine with it. If it's at our facility, the crew can be doing other things and kind of when their turn
Okay.
comes up. It worked fine, as a standalone sitting at our facility. It's when you gotta go into town that you have to.
Not that I wanna spend more, but I'm just saying that if you're gonna come back in 2 or 3 years, say, hey, this is nice, but doesn't really serve the purpose, we need to add to it.
We don't have room to add another one.
Okay,
So-
well, then that answers the question
However,
right there.
I will preface that by saying that long-term, we could add, and this would serve the cars and small pickups, we could add like an automatic inside the building in a different spot on the other side. We could add an automatic.
Drive-through.
A drive-through or pull in, back out, but where you wouldn't have to get out of your car, you could just go in and automatically
Back
go.
out.
Sorry.
Let's do this first.
Yes,
Yeah.
this is
Yeah.
long-term,
Yeah,
and
let's
many
do
years
this
down the road.
first.
It's not,
Well,
priority
that's what I
right.
was thinking, if it's gonna be enough to serve, or if you're gonna need to look at it, you're gonna need to add something to it, so, okay, there's
I,
enough room anyway.
I believe it will. Any other department other departments we've toured and looked at, they only have one, so.
Okay,
And then other items under planning, and this is under the 806 as well, $50,000 for a planning department pickup truck, $2,500 for iPads for building permit inspectors, and I think you have those down in the IT
That's in,
section.
that's in
do they have the truck on
computer equipment.
state contract, or,
That's what we try to do. We generally buy all our pickups on state contract, either ordering them or buy them off of a lot with state contract pricing. We've been able to do that too.
what did we put in public, or in maintenance for their truck?
40,000.
2 or 48.
I know we upped it, but
No,
I
it
didn't-
was 38.5 or something. and we were-
He had 25
we went-
on
and
it
we
to
went,
start
or
with.
25, and we went to 40,000.
They do trucks with just the chassis then, if you wanted to use that flatbed off that other truck, or, I think a regular truck bed would work better, but I'm kinda leave that up to the maintenance
They-
department.
Maintenance could buy a cab and chassis and we can put that flatbed on there. And it's in good shape
I think
still.
that's what Greg was talking about, but I don't know how much it's gonna cost to swap that over, it might be better to get rid of that and get a regular truck you can actually haul stuff on instead of a
We-
flatbed.
We could do it easily. I mean, our crew would do it and it would take a half a day probably. It's not that big of a, maybe I shouldn't say that. It's about more than half a day, but it's pretty simple for our guys to do it.
Yeah.
They put the one that's on there now. They put it on there.
Okay, thanks.
Okay.
And then a digital conversion of our building permit files, $25,000. And that would be taking everything, it's all paper-based, it's in file cabinets, and it would be converting it to digital, and then it could be uploaded into OpenGov for historical data, and then it runs with the property address.
So then that's stored in
That'd be a capital expense. Not sure.
OpenGov as a
Capital.
cloud, right?
Mhm.
Then what do y'all do with the hard copies? You scan them and have a,
We would save them and probably store them off-site somewhere, maybe at the EMS building.
Is that through NeoGov? Is that the company that's?
we'll charge them rent for storage. There
Yeah.
we go. I'll take care of EMS
We-
now.
OpenGov?
Yeah, okay.
We wouldn't pay OpenGov to do it. We would hire a local, company. There's one in Columbia.
But it's for that project.
It's,
basically.
it doesn't have to be, but it would be compatible. We need to convert all our files to digital.
Yeah, I
It's
wouldn't
all
recommend
capital.
paying that out of capital.
Yeah.
We need to find
If it's part of the
money out
same
of
thing.
Okay.
100, 200, or split it, it's gonna benefit both.
We can work on that.
Work on that, find a place for it. But we really do need to convert all those to digital. And plus, definitely with OpenGov, going forward, anybody can be a user, they can search something by property address and see all the prior permits on it. Right now, we gotta go pull a file and weed through stapled papers and things. It's just time. So. And then health.
That would be mostly planning then, so.
Probably 90% planning, maybe a little road and bridge because we have utility permits in there too. So we'll work on that. Okay.
Let's do a budget adjustment for that once we get
Once we
a
get
better
it.
idea.
Right.
Sure.
And then health department, we did work with Christie and her staff on getting an estimate for a sprinkler system for the landscaping that was installed over the past 2 years, and then the general grounds around the building, and that's $11,500. You have that in there.
Yeah.
And then some items to remove, I think.
Yeah,
Mark those off.
quite a few items to remove, actually, or at least three items.
Okay, and then let's go to the 807 sales tax.
We decided to put the word lawn in front of sprinkler there,
I
didn't we?
will, yeah.
Okay,
Or outdoor sprinkler.
yeah, outdoor, yeah, whatever.
I don't,
Okay, what page are we going to now?
Probably that would be 122 and 123, right?
yes.
Now, 805, just for, we need to clear out any open purchase orders in 805. If we need to transfer any of that to 807, we
Yes.
need to,
We're
we want
working
to
on
close
that.
down
We should be
805 next
fairly
year.
close to having everything in 805 taken care of.
We had 2 jobs this year, partially or fully paid out of 805, and those will be closed out. And anything remaining in 805, we want to transfer over to 807. So we did not do an 805 budget.
Right.
807, we don't have any changes from what was submitted.
Well, on a cash basis, we gotta put that 1.5 million back into 807 revenues on the EDA grant, because we're not gonna get the cash right. until
Correct. So
Next year.
on the cart project, we had the EDA grant, and we're still waiting on getting that received. Or it's been, I think they're waiting on one piece and they got that, so they can submit that. Minimum RPC is
For
doing
some reason it
that.
comes in before the end of the year, but for now, I've got enough.
Highly unlikely, so we'll just take that and carry that forward into next year. But we didn't have anything else under sales tax.
Okay. 807, okay.
We can talk about, finish it out with 211. That's our largest budget as far as the number of line items go.
Page,
That's 91.
okay.
Start with like capital request, table, anything on 91, page 91 change.
The heavy, let me look at my facility maintenance and heavy equipment.
Oh, yeah.
We had some items there. So, under heavy equipment, that's 54902. Our budgeted amount is $275,000. We just received checks and we're gonna deposit those, receipt those, I guess, maybe that's ongoing right now. From Purple Wave, we did a big surplus sale and grossed $97,445. Now, part of the reason why that happened, we had budgeted $5,000. So, and I'll credit Sheila, when we did the vehicle policy, there was some items in there about, not keeping things just to keep them. If we have vehicles or things that are not being used, based on what their purpose is, we need to get rid of them. And so we did a wholesale, looking through everything, got rid of a few pickups that had been sitting around, not used or inoperable. The main item was a motor grader that we sold, and it was over $70,000 or
$70,000.
Damn.
70 even. So we had 2 spares. We decided we only need 1 spare. We have 4 regular grader routes, and then the 2 spares, we got rid of 1. So that was a big component of that we originally hadn't planned to surplus. And so in doing that, we had a net of $92,445 extra revenue on the revenue side that we would like to put back into vehicle and heavy equipment in next year's budget. 3 items. We want to purchase a small size mini excavator to replace a 10-year-old model, and then some chipper hammers for that and the Bobcat, I believe, and then also a shouldering box. All those we would want to add an additional to bring it up to $397,445, or we could just make it $400,000 even. So that'd be an additional $125,000. What goes along with that, and I'll back up to the revenue side on surplus property, with the purchase of a new small size mini, we would surplus the one that we have, and we would expect $30,000 out of that. So we would change the surplus, and that's 211-46789. Surplus property would go from 90 to 120.
So if you change the top one to 400,000 even, which I like even numbers, then you need to adjust that one, and it won't be an even number.
Well, we would,
So
we'll
just make it 120 and leave the other.
cash forward's gonna be more. It'll adjust that number.
Whatever.
Yeah.
Okay, so if you,
January 1, whatever.
That's a
Just
January
one.
one.
Everything.
you guys adjust the other, so. I'm fine with both of those, I'm just saying, if you change one, you need to change the other on that, right?
We're gonna add to surplusing an item to make sure we have enough revenue to buy the small size mini, and that
Yep.
price on that was about
And that actual.
$77,000.
The end number's just gonna depend on what you get for it anyway on the surplus sale.
When you sell an item that brings 70,000 to Purple Wave, do you know who bought it?
That one, it was a company out
Yeah,
of
Maine
Maine.
bought it, but the truck driver was headed to Mexico with a piece of equipment.
He was going to Audrain County?
Mexico border.
Okay, just checking.
There's a large market for that type of equipment overseas or out of country.
Really?
We thought it was going across the ocean when it was a Maine or whatever company that bought it. So,
So
They're-
when some of our people go to, hey, you might see it down in Kabul, right?
Yeah, let me know if it makes.
You
sense.
could have delivered it and written it off as a business expense.
you could have roaded it down there.
They will let me play on it, yeah. Still didn't get to operate the loader at the
The auditor's
cart.
not listening, so maybe.
Yeah.
I know you wanna drive the train,
Train.
but I wanted that big old loader, get tore into some stuff.
When we have snow, you can operate the loader.
I don't wanna be where I can tear something up and have to pay for it. I mean,
Put them in a plow.
out there's a bunch of rocks.
So, those 2 items go hand in hand. Are we good on that?
Yes.
Yes.
All right. There was a few, Mark, I think you probably tracked a few things throughout there, but it was
List
pretty,
out from last. from the
it was
first
pretty
meeting.
minimal.
No, I wrote them all down yet, but yeah, I got your list, so, yeah.
It was pretty minimal. Really, the only requests that we had on the 211 side, different in other than what I'm going to talk about, going through everything, was under salaries. We were actually lower than what we had originally submitted because of a retirement, and also because of
We were gonna have to bump up our
when Brian left, it changed salaries, and we actually keeping one spot vacant right now, but we're still budgeting that, but it's less than the combined of what they were, so.
Why don't you send me like an updated salary schedule?
Yeah. We would actually, based on what was submitted in the budget originally and what we are requesting now, it's a decrease of $76,515. But at the end, I want to talk about salaries, so.
Did you talk about that? Or you
Not
want to
yet.
increase- Okay, you are going to.
I would like to, 211-54925, that's highway maintenance facility, I would like to request a change of that from 60 to 80,000. And there's when we replaced the pipes associated with the fuel spill, we did some additional work around the area where the outlet was, and that resulted in adding some additional parking area. We had to take the fence down, so we would like to get that fence put back in the new location, and then we have some additional grounds type work to do around the property. So another 20,000 would allow us a little more flexibility to get all that done.
That's on, what page do we be there? 94?
It'd be on 94, under capital outlay,
Oh, okay.
Right. Main facility.
from 60 to 80. Yeah, highway maintenance facility. Okay with that?
Yeah, I was just going by his sheet, I didn't even,
60 to 80.
Have we gone through all the insurance issues on the leakage down there?
We have submitted, and I actually got an update on that a couple days ago. They're still looking at it, the insurance company for the contractor.
Oh, for the
And,
contract, okay.
Yes, we did submit it to ours, and it was denied, which we expected. But now it's there, so we're just waiting on an update.
I think their insurance company's offshore, so. I could go negotiate, I think it's in Bermuda. I'd do that, you know.
If you promise to stay.
One-way ticket?
Mexico, Bermuda, no.
We could maybe expedite it a little quicker, you know.
We'll send you some selfies in our swimsuits.
I wouldn't do it for just
I
anybody.
understand.
Do we have that in red?
We did. We did include some money coming back on the revenue side for that. Yeah.
I'd still go to Bermuda.
I'm ready to move on to some things on the salary side, if you're ready for that. So, when we submitted our budget, we asked for 4% COLA and 1% merit pool. And I would like to see a salary reserve similar to what we did this current budget year. I thought that was pretty helpful, and it allowed some flexibility, or allowed for if there were some mid-year changes that we hadn't planned for. We also need to do a salary study, and Sheila and I have talked about that, and we've kind of done a little bit of analysis, ongoing the past week or two, looking at, especially looking at our starting salary. It's $32,000. Comparable positions at local public agencies, MoDOT in Jefferson City. Jefferson City's $35,886, and MoDOT is $39,686. So we're behind in that regard. Thankfully, we don't have any open positions right now. Depending on what we do with the assistant road superintendent position, if we end up sticking with just two and not hire a third like we had prior to Brian leaving, then we would open that up to another entry-level position. We would hire another position. So if we try to do some adjustments for that, we need to look at everything across the board, tying into our career path progression plan. And I know we need to continually be looking at that, and Sheila and I have talked about that, and I don't know what the commission wants to do as far as looking at a salary study, if departments need to do it on their own, or if you're looking at a county-wide. I'm kind of indifferent on that, but I think we do need to look at our salaries and continually be looking at that to make sure that they're tracking with where they should be. And our career path progression plan's working great. We just need to continually be looking at it and making sure it's appropriate. Not only just salaries, but then the path, making sure the path is still good. So, I don't really have any specific requests. I know other departments had wanted to up their starting to, I thought I heard 38 for one position, maybe higher for another, and that's entry level. I know ours is 32, and then our entry level for a mechanic is 38,000 right now. And the one we have actually has a degree at State Tech, a diesel mechanic degree, and has a Class A CDL. So I think we definitely need to, on the mechanic side, need to review those. And I didn't look at those specific to what I'm talking about today. That was just entry level for equipment operator 1 position. That's our lowest paid position right now. So, but an amount in a salary reserve would allow us an ability to make adjustments after we do a salary study to see where things are.
I think that's where I'm kind of at with it right now. We got the COLA, and then we'll try to pull out something we can put into a merit pool or a reserve, however we decide to word it. The ones that you mentioned, like your entry level equipment operator 1, I think I would run through HR and see where that goes as far as salary, kind of do our full salary, so we can try to see if we need to make adjustments. As once we start on that 1, then it's just gonna keep going up to the 2, 3, and on, but to keep our good employees. But that's kind of where I'm at with that. I think we're gonna do that at the end of when we get done going through the budget, just to deal with the salaries.
I concur generally with Jeff's statement there. I would drop the word merit. I'd just call it a pool.
Mhm.
I'm fine with it.
Salary pool.
Yeah.
Yeah, salary reserve or pool, I thought that fit well with what the purpose was.
It's merit, we've maybe kind of moved ourselves into we have to do not a study, but, okay, are you more meritorious than the other one? And then stack them, and I think it gets us somewhere we don't need to go. Limits a little bit of our flexibility there.
Yeah, and the other ones that are gonna actually affect the grid is what I'm looking at running through HR, because I think if we need to fix it, we need to fix the whole grid.
Yeah, if you raise the starting, well, if you don't adjust everything comparably, then you're creating that compression again, which we suffered for years.
Yeah,
Well,
yeah.
You may suffer for that, but we suffer for that
I'm gonna
whenever
make a.
you have a little trouble filling one
embroidered
area.
sign, it just
and
says compression.
It
I'm like,
boosts
we're gonna put
everybody
it
up.
here.
That,
Yeah.
I have
Just has to
a,
look at that difference between
Well,
if it's okay or not.
I might be the outlier on that idea that because you have one level of things that's hard to fill, everybody gets a raise. I just don't subscribe to that. I don't care about the compression problem it causes.
Yeah, and I don't, I think you just gotta look at the salary and how it, not comparing it to other people, but how it compares to that discipline and making sure that it's right. And if raising the starting entry level, well, it kind of stands to reason that other ones would raise, but that's just based on, you gotta compare it to other departments, not just because somebody got a raise here or there that it needs to be the same.
I think that's where your career path and
That's what-
progress plan really comes into effect. It kind of keeps that from happening. Once we've had them here for long enough and they're staying here, they're loyal, doing a good job, then there is some kind of reward.
Yeah, these 25, 30-year
I'm not
awards
opposed.
we gave out are
Yeah.
impressive.
So whenever, you're gonna, at the very end, you're gonna decide that. Is it gonna be consistent across all departments as far as a percentage base, or look at each department?
It's kind of where I was leaning, if that works.
Okay.
But that was just this little brain spinning and thinking, and, Sam and Harry may have some other ideas too. When you bounce off each other, sometimes combine them or something, even come up with a good idea, so.
Well, I think the first start for us is doing the study, and I'd say relatively simple. We just gotta reach out to other similar departments.
It's relatively simple by department, but in the grand scheme, I've already got everybody in the county on that target. So.
Yeah, I understand it's a very difficult and complex decision overall, that I think if we just do our own, and just work through HR, that's what we need to do. Come up with a plan and present it and go from there. That's all we can do, but, you know, I think we need to, as I know you all have mentioned in the past, we need to make sure we got good employees and we're retaining them. And that's been, since I've been director, that's been probably primary focus. Spent a lot of time on that, making sure where we need to be. I think we've made some great strides over the past couple of years, but we just need to keep on and making sure we're keeping up. So,
Well, that's where I think your plan really helped. Was it last year when we did that?
little
And I don't
over,
think-
a little over.
Yeah.
And we've done that with EMS and the sheriff's office too. I think they've been similar but different, however it affects each one, but gives you something to work towards.
One thing, and as we look at the career plan, it does have dollar amounts signed to positions, and it's based on 2-year-old starting salaries and what you would expect with a COLA and all that to get to that point. We have an employee that'll be promoted to the next level, and I think if the COLA goes through at 4%, he's gonna be really close to that amount without even getting the promotion to the next level. So that tells me that we just need to keep on looking at those starting for each position and making sure that they're tracking with what an inflation or a COLA is each year.
Well, we've talked about that too before, is trying to get the grid to follow the COLA, because if it stays where it's at and somebody comes in or gets promoted to the next one, like I said, it's not following the rest of the COLAs and adjustments. And I don't know if that's as simple as just adding the COLA to the grid, starting grid.
We have their grid, we have the sheriff's grid, we have the EMS, and then we don't really have a grid for the rest of us, so, I mean, we kinda do, but it's how it's that.
We
You know.
kinda do.
When Kristen put it
Using that,
together.
yeah, it's outdated.
Yeah, and it has never
But they're
changed.
different across the county every which way but loose.
Oh, I know.
And
So an overall county plan would be the answer, I think.
I'm not gonna go as far to say a clerk is a clerk is a clerk, but there should be some parity in there. And I think they all specialize in their own ways and have their own, special duties, so, are they the same but different? Possibly.
And you could do that salary study differently. You can ask for job descriptions, which is a big cost of that, or if we feel comfortable.
But
we
that
have
comes down to who can write a better job description.
Right.
But there should be bare minimums, and some departments are not even hitting. Makes it hard to justify increases.
So you can have a study that does that plus the market for the grid, or you can just have somebody come in and just do the market for the grid, and see where we are. I can't remember what the cities was. The cities was just the market, wasn't it? It didn't do the job descriptions.
Because they had already done a job description review,
Yes.
not too far back.
So you can tailor that however you want, but the most important thing is you have to have that job description in order to give to a company for them to then go to the market and evaluate.
How much was that market study? You know what the city
Started at
paid?
27, I think.
How much?
27,000.
Which is
I
a
looked
drop
at
in
it
the
last
budget
year.
Yeah, which
compared
is
to what
not-
we're spending.
That wasn't as bad as I thought it was.
No, I was-
I was expecting it to be 6 figures.
It wouldn't be 6, but
No.
it would easily be probably 50,000 if we did it.
Are you suggesting that a county, you would have a county grid, and it would be a level 1 on up to whatever 30? And,
Total county grid, but in there, each department would have their own organization chart.
Right.
But they would all fit back into the.
but if I have an employee that's a level 8, and EMS has one that's a level 8, the starting is gonna be the same amount.
Yes.
That,
Sounds like MoDOT.
mhm.
I mean.
It's one way to look at it. I don't know. There's probably 100 different ways.
Apply COLA, the whole chart
Yes.
changes.
And that has been our downfall, that we haven't done that, but again, respectfully, we haven't had the money to do that. So we never changed the grid. And then do you change it by what we could afford to give to people for a COLA, or what the CPI really is, for this area? And that's really what that grid should change by, not what we were able to get. So it was always a debate, and so it
Well,
never moved.
If we do the market study and then not implement it, not only is it a huge waste of effort and money, it's discouraging to everybody that knows we did the study, because then they're like, oh, well, this is what it says I should make, and they're saying I'm not worth that much, and it creates morale issues all the way around. So we kind of have to decide that we are going to implement it if we're going to go that far.
And the last time, it took us 4 to 5 years to implement the whole thing because of cost.
And then never got caught up.
Well, and then we
Archer
never-
study?
We never kept it up.
Stop.
Yeah,
We never kept it up.
but there was quite a bit of cost difference in that too. And then everybody's got to accept that study. You can't sit there and go, well, I don't agree with them, let's make an adjustment here, because that's kind of what's
Reduce the
happening.
whole thing.
Well, more than half the employees work for you guys, through your department heads, so you can make that work. I mean, they're more than half are your guys, you know. The elected officials, yes, you might have 1 or 2 that won't follow it, but this elected official group, I think, is more willing to accept that as long as they feel like it was fair for every other elected officials. You know, in the past, I wouldn't have said that. I will say that, no.
You said that with a straight face even.
I know.
Nothing against elected officials, but a lot of stuff has its own rhymes and reasons in different areas, so.
It's worth it.
There's nothing that we can do to hold them to it though, so.
No,
Some
budget-
guidelines.
budget
the money's in their budget.
I understand, but if they have an employee's not here and they don't fill a position and, well, I've got the money. Okay,
Yeah.
well, you got it until you fill that position and then,
Just remember it for the next
And it
2 years
happens,
of budget.
it happens too often.
yeah, so.
Well, I think, I think we're happy with where we're at, but we need to keep working towards, looking and making sure we're fitting where we need to be for that day. That, I don't want to get to the point that people are leaving to go to other similar agencies because they can make another $3,000, $4,000, $5,000.
That's where I like your idea
Yeah.
of the pool, the salary pool, because then we can let the department and the elected officials for their own departments and such make their decisions where those adjustments possibly need to be made. Unless we're changing the grids, then that one I think goes through HR and we just, same but different.
We need some grids first.
Well,
I think I'm all for tasking Sheila. She's sitting there thanking me for throwing all this in her lap every time somebody comes up here, but it may not happen overnight, but
I think just getting consistency helps in the long run with every department. It definitely helps with us to know where we stand too.
yeah. I think we're thinking along the same lines there, Eric, and try to not micromanage you all or the other elected officials, then they can make some adjustments as they see fit. Hopefully that works for everybody.
We've got a good group of people that work with us, and we need to make sure we retain them and make sure that things keep.
That's been the
going in that
theme of
direction.
this budget.
Yeah.
Yeah.
and really, your department has had more longevity than probably just about any other department, so.
I think it's the nature of what we do, and just
One big happy family.
Yeah. Fish fries are what makes a difference.
fresh fries and Thanksgiving
Feed 'em.
barbecues.
Yeah.
Well, I appreciate it. If you got anything, just let me know. I think we're all on the same page with some of the items that I asked to change.
I'll make sure I go back to the first place.
Are you gonna discuss the salary stuff in more detail later, or is that?
We're about there.
Yeah, we're just about, I think we have the
only got one more.
assessor,
Okay, I'm not sure.
we have the assessor, and I think we're done.
Yeah. We talked about his budget yesterday, so it's.
I
Can't be here
think
today,
he
I
might
think
be,
we're all pretty much done. Oh, he's here.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
I got a text that said he was. but-
Okay, cool.
so we'll
He was getting a list together.
handle him, and
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Do you need another break?
I'm gonna use the bathroom real quick if we're waiting on somebody or you got something you're working on.
we can take a 5-minute break.
We can still take a short break.
Take a 5-minute break. I'm good, but standing up makes a big difference.
If you could send me your most recent salary.
Salary schedule, yes,
Make
yes.
sure I got
Hey, Harry, is 9601 your county phone?
numbers.
96.
I think I did, but that was back when we did our hearing, and it's probably long gone.
Oh, what? Yeah.
I'll make sure
It's
it's.
9601.
Yeah, appreciate it.
Brian had that on that group text when he just texted us when he was out, and just trying to figure out whose it is, so.
So he'll be here in 5 or 10
He may just be texting random
Okay.
people, I don't know.
Yes, I'll be in 5 or 10 minutes. We'll reset.
You know what?
Take a break.
Real quick, now I can't remember. On the sheriff's transfer from general fund, are we majority in favor of increasing it by 4%? Or,
I am.
okay. So that's-
Why you gotta rub it in?
No, I
It was
just-
like 8:30 yesterday.
No, I just
already
couldn't
lost it.
remember. I couldn't remember the final decision on that. I just wanted to make sure I got it right.
I am.
Thank you.
No.
Okay.
Gotta have fun with it, it's budget time, so we all go crazy.
So we're gonna take a 5 or 10 minute break,
Yeah.
right?
2 minute break. Tell
2
the
minutes.
assessors here.
No.
Then we will.
What do you think? Last one?
Read this check.
Some salary decisions?
Yeah.
We are here by lunch, I would
Yeah.
assume.
Boyd. Gotta void this check. It's got too many things on
We were having some initial issues with the payroll balance and the transfers.
it. Yeah, he was looking at some, he called down here when I was in there,
Okay.
but he was looking at different.
Was it, okay, I asked Liz to, because, Rob hadn't done it more than once or
Yeah.
twice. Well, he did at least once before, but, he's new, so I asked Liz to look it over
He
too.
was looking at it.
Okay. I was wondering if we might have looked at the wrong thing, yeah.
All right, when I get back, we'll set up a meeting with Locke and make sure he knows what's going on with this consent ugly. We need to start looking at subpoenas. Yep. Yeah. 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 All right. Thanks. All right, buddy. Thank you. Bye.
All good? Hey, are we gonna put a Christmas tree up? You know where it's at? Well.
Hey, you have a second?
Who are you texting?
I forgot from there. Jeff, it's happening.
Welcome to my age.
Alex, are you good? You need a coffee or anything?
I'm all looked at.
Okay.
Okay. I was wondering if he
What's
was
his
looking
name,
at
Rob?
Rob.
I have to remember. It takes me a while to get back to that. I did add, the insurance. I got it on the agenda for next week too, to talk about
Okay.
the cyber and the
Okay.
plan the table.
Okay.
But I added it to your figure.
Okay, thank you. So is there anything in today's paper about budget?
I did.
There was, okay, I hadn't seen it yet.
Kind of a recap of yesterday's
Okay.
meeting for today, and for tomorrow, I think folks will be what you guys up to with salary.
I live in an area where there's no car delivery now. I get it in the mail, so I don't see the paper till at least noon. Sunday paper, of course, we get still car delivery by that, for that, but yeah. Get mail, man.
Yeah, obvious, my only, I think my big office, just, they just have like a pile shoved in my desk. Really, that's all.
This is probably it right here.
Oh, okay. Okay. We're landowners now.
Good.
Ooh. Get all my cushions in place. What page is Estes on? The assessor on, I'm sorry.
Ninety-six,
96.
It's
Okay.
97, where's the number start?
Okay. Ask him if we have our 120,000 yet. Okay, got it.
See, one of the reasons I want anybody who works for us.
Yeah, we did get the money from the city. When I did the first draft of my budget, we had, I think I saw it came in.
Yeah, I finally, then usually that's my trigger to send them a bill.
Is that something we can change, increase, Chris? I met Chris to go kind of over the budget before the budget hearings. He said, that number's never changed. I don't know.
It changes, I get the parcel count from over there, and the dollar amount we charge them.
Linda and I gave it up.
He's
It
right,
does
they never
change.
changed.
Oh, no.
We told
The
Father
dollar amount that
Con,
we charge him has never changed.
what are you gonna give up for land?
Can we
It's
change
his
it?
job
I-
to
I-
initiate any contract with the city.
All right.
And
To
Linda
me,
and
it's
those-
not, I shouldn't even be
I think
doing
we
Right.
get patches in,
I
we
get
get
it.
to your doctor. We want cold.
I'm okay with that. You know how old that contract is too.
3 weeks, 100 days.
89.
Right, that's- You
you know, for people who say it's my
Breakfast pizza in there.
body, I have never been so addicted.
Is that statutory?
And so, you know, back after that,
I know you can, I know you can build.
Yesterday, but it's
Yeah.
breakfast.
Some cities have their own, right?
I
Yeah.
never was.
So I don't, I think.
Now,
Back in my body.
Larry collects all the city property taxes in the county, right? Yes. Now,
We had a-
1% or
we had a
half,
positive
well, it's
power.
0.5%.
Right. And this was
But
before the
small
power.
counties, they used to,
I'd come
it's
out
1% of all
Throw
property
the garage
taxes,
door
meant
up,
to assess the fund.
jumped in a car, started back
If there were
out.
cities
I
that were
snapped
collecting their own
3 power
property
antennas
taxes, the
off
county
the
needed
back
to
of the
bill
car,
them
'cause
for
I'd
that.
throw it up
But
to
this is
6
not the same
forces, come
thing.
back
This is
down.
It's not that.
Because
So
we're
the
getting
third one,
cut
McKinney.
off the city tax already, because Larry collects that.
Is
So,
it just for the
But within-
collector's office statutorily? We could be getting more if
no, the half percent that comes out of,
I never,
that's the property
I
tax.
never want anything.
That's
to
the
happen.
first line on the assessor's budget. That's the half percent that Larry withholds from all property
But that
taxes.
statute
And
that
those cars.
allows us to do that, is that
It wasn't
just for the collector, or is it countywide? I don't know, I'd have to go back, I used to remember. What allows us to do that?
There's a statute that says half percent
We
is
let, we had.
only for third class, it's 1% for first class, I guess it's half percent.
Yeah, that's that one, so I'm trying to.
But there's no
Half
stipulation
percent.
in there about collecting the city.
Well, I think there's wording that
But I'm sure
says
like-
if, for cities that collect their own taxes, because it says the county collector is.
His graduation or wedding this weekend.
Fine, I think there's wording in there, it's been.
Call somebody else.
Pretty sure there's wording that says
But, you know,
cities
obviously,
collect their own
really
taxes,
really debate
and
that.
the county
Yeah.
can bill
And any of you got.
half percent, but that doesn't apply, because we're already getting that, because Larry collects for everything. But this is something different than.
They made sure they had
Yeah, just
pieces and pieces.
think with the job, they should have known that.
You know what I said?
And that they are.
Yeah.
And that's where I'm gonna throw the money in there.
It's one of those that has been.
That's what you wanna do, you wanna adjust that
But it
or
was
that.
also good when you were in occupied area.
I'm not gonna promise on that, I was trying to do a percentage, and if that works right. That gets
And
you.
then finally, I think that. Because it really wasn't
That way it kind of puts it in your.
So they said it's about 5 to 10 minutes. I thought Debbie had said.
Oh,
So we'll just,
He wasn't out there when I walked in.
I'm sorry.
He wasn't out there when I walked in just a minute ago yet.
Well, I'm good with it. If we can do this 4% again, I can keep that for.
Yeah.
You're waiting, we're ready, or is it waiting?
We're waiting,
Assessor, yeah.
they had said 5 to 10 minutes for
We can-
for the
So are we
assessor.
waiting for him?
For the assessor, yeah.
Okay.
You want to start other discussion?
What else we got?
Good, sir.
No, the other.
Salaries?
Salaries, yeah.
Is that it? I think that's about where we're at, right? We've gone through every department. Unless you have anything for any other.
Where's that-
department or area
where's that-
you can think of.
Kind of put us in the budget then. Are we balanced? Do we have
We are.
a lot less in our carryover contingency than we normally would have? Are we dipping in too deep? Or we stayed pretty steady?
Carry forward too, yeah.
Yeah, we're in good shape in the general fund with new 2024 revenues meeting 2024
Okay.
expenses.
So then-
We're in good shape.
However, included in revenue is sort of a windfall of investment compared to prior years.
Right, we're getting
For
a lot more interest
Yeah.
revenue right now.
Yeah,
Whether
and,
that's-
you know, let's just, for,
They are paying.
for instance, we've got $6 or $7 million of ARPA money invested at 7%. That's, let's say, $350,000.
Right,
revenue.
so if we kind of back that out of there, or, I mean, did that just make it look that much healthier, or is that what's making it
That's
healthier?
going into ARPA funds. That's not even in the general fund right now.
Could be transferred.
It
Well,
could be, it could be, but I'm.
but when you say that, when you're not even counting that in that number that you're,
Okay.
okay, I'm sorry, okay. But we
it's
do
still
have
there,
general
but not-
fund money in there that has got, don't we have general fund money invested?
Oh, absolutely.
And how much is that?
Oh. I mean, at any one time, we've got 14 million.
14 million.
Yeah, and we're
Yeah.
stagnant.
I mean, everything in the bank also earns 75% of the T-bill rate. So we do okay on even
Yeah.
let's just sit on bank, but we earn more as we take
So
the
that's-
excess cash and put it in T-bill.
That's what I'm wanting to know is where are we at as far as what number can we work backwards from? When we do the 4% COLA, I'd like to keep that at 4, but we were looking at these pools and what can we afford to do? Can we afford to do another 1% into that pool, disperse it however we see fit? Some of them need to go through HR, I feel, and, you know, we can go through each one of them and talk about that, or like I said, we can have the departments get their percentage, and then they can work it however they need to on their adjustments, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
So,
Okay. I'm looking at a schedule I put in my budget message. It's like
VII or something?
VII, yeah. It's by funds. It's got general fund, road bridge, sales tax, law enforcement, and that's, if you look at that, and again, these are estimates, and we've made some tweaks to this, but nothing significant that's going to affect, that significantly affect these numbers. But if you look at that, general fund, we're total revenue, 17 million. You go down to total expenditures, that's 20 million, but that includes that 5 million kind of placeholder for capital improvements. So you take that out. Our estimated expenditures are around 15, over 15. So I think
Okay.
we should be in good shape.
What did we do,
still.
1.5% last year in the,
In the pool, we
In
did a
the pool.
total of 5.5%. We did 4% COLA and 1.5.
So, we did something in a, okay, I'm gonna call a pool what we would give to elected officials or each department, and a reserve what we would have for us to sit and consider adjustments throughout the year. Is that fair enough? Is that good names for them both?
Do you
or-
want to separate them both, or do you, I mean, I guess we have to, because we have to put the reserve in the reserve and merit in the budget, so.
well, but we have certain, like the sheriff and,
Nope, that would be a percent as well. He gets his percent. If we do 1%, I'm just using that as a round number right now. He gets his 1% for the pool. That's for him inside how he's gonna disperse it in his department.
so
Commission,
EMS you would do.
Public Works.
EMS you would, juvenile
EMS is
detention
totally separate.
center.
Their COLAs are already built in. But you could put a pool, you could put some pool
I-
money in there. But their
He's got some
COLAs-
adjustments he'd like to make too.
Right, so he probably needs a pool or a reserve. If you're gonna
So-
do that for everybody else, we would want to put something in
I'm not,
EMS.
I'm not saying no to doing it for them as well. They've got their own funds too, and it's a little different, like similar to the sheriff and, you know, Public Works too, so.
So juvenile detention center, you would just put.
They
theirs
get
in
their,
there.
well, that's twofold. I'd do their 1%, and we need to look at their youth specialists and JOs. I think we need to see where they're at, if we're even close on the grid. But that's same with the prosecutor's office. We got a bunch of them that need to be looked at through HR, not just throwing some arbitrary number in there to try to bring their pay scale up.
Well,
So-
I'm fine with the prosecuting attorney of putting that in,
I mean,
looking at that.
I
But
looked some up on, you know, it depends on where you look too, and I think Sheila's gonna have the resources to do it a lot better than me Googling it, so.
Google's not always reliable.
I don't know if that was that was supposed to be a compliment.
We have
Huh?
The power you're gonna have.
Okay.
I'm not
No,
gonna
she
have the
just makes
Virgin
recommend,
Faith
she just brings us the
one.
information. She, what we do with it will, you know, be up to us to disseminate how you use it to apply to each department. Because are you gonna say, hey, You know, if we're losing
Responded
people,
back to you too on the two parcels.
Yes, I saw that, thank you. I appreciate your patience with me trying to take care of an invoice for clerk's office.
okay, so
Back to
assessment
page
fund.
96, 97.
Okay, got plenty of red ink left. Sorry, Chris.
That's what I was afraid of. Just
I got a green
remember
marker too.
one thing, I am a revenue generating office.
What do you want to start with? Go for salaries, or how do you? Revenue side first?
Might as well.
I think on the revenue side, there's still just that one question about state reimbursement and where we're at.
Yeah, I-
Update us on that.
Spoke to them a couple of days ago, and we're just about done with it.
So we will have it by the end of the year.
That's my understanding. Now, I can't guarantee how fast the state will move on that or how long it will take them to get it sent to us, but that should be resolved before the end of the year.
Chris, on the 29th of November, you said definitely, when you were asked, would we get paid?
Well, yes,
You said definitely.
we should be getting paid, yes.
Well, now it should be, then it was
Okay,
definitely.
I'm not going to play with words here, Harry. I'm working on it. I've spoken to them, state to move on it. I have no, we're sitting on a $1.3 million surplus right now, so I'm sure that that 110 or 20 will help, but it's not going to
117.
break us. Pardon?
117,000.
117, okay.
$138.80.
Have you and the State Tax Commission executed an MOU?
It's not been completed yet.
Because
It's almost completed. I spoke to them a couple of days ago. We're making a couple of changes.
you submitted one, that you finally submitted one after 14 months, and you put an addendum with it, and MOUs don't have addendums.
Yeah, they said an addendum would be just fine.
No, they didn't.
They're not going to attach it to the memorandum. It will be attached to it. It's not going to be part of the MOU. It will be an addendum to the MOU.
Okay, and they're not going to sign that page.
I don't expect them to sign it, Harry,
Why did you put it with it the first time?
because I wanted to tell them what the situation is. They're talking about the maintenance plan, and if they want me to follow the maintenance plan, I'd like to follow the maintenance plan, but I can't follow the maintenance plan right now because I don't have the staff to do that.
This isn't on them, Chris, it's on you.
I didn't say it was on them, Harry.
You said
I
you're
it
waiting on
would
the
be
state.
My part of it will be resolved before the end of the year,
Okay, that's what I want.
okay?
And is that
I
definite?
think that's enough. Let's talk about the budget,
No,
please.
well, I want to get it on the
Go ahead,
record.
Harry.
On the 29th of November, you were asked, are we
Yes.
going to get paid? And you said, definitely.
I don't see any reason we wouldn't.
You don't have an executed MOU. They don't meet until
Didn't I
Jan,
just tell you it would be completed before the end of the year?
you said that we would definitely get paid. That's what you said.
I assumed that by the time that I get the thing to them and the state gets it back to us, that we should be before the end of the year. I can't guarantee that the state is going to process this thing in a week or 2 weeks or even a month, okay? I don't know how their finances work. My part of it will be completed well before that. So then it's up to the state to decide when they're going to send it.
Send me whenever.
Yes, sir.
All the paperwork is done, send
Yes.
it to me, please. And
I will do that.
Okay. Okay,
Okay.
yeah.
And I think that was the only item on the revenue side. So, expenses, was everything else okay?
Yeah,
I
I
don't
think-
think we had any differences other than salary. So
Correct.
I think we're all okay with all the other line items? Do you have any other questions on any other? Postage went up.
Give me one thing here. Yeah, the postage went up. That was
But
the
we-
bill that
but
I
we
was
added
working with the
that,
clerk's
yeah.
office, so we increased that.
We did, yeah.
Okay, good.
Yeah, we increased your budget
That was
for
the,
that, so.
the one we were working on this morning.
Yeah, and printing and binding. I mean,
Yeah.
Larry Collector, we had similar
Yeah.
concerns, asked
They always
his
go up.
budget to raise, or because
Yeah.
those costs really went up, so.
Hey, Chris, I do have a question for you about the postage. I mean, it's kind of.
About what?
Postage, it's related to postage. And I understand that Larry explained to us that there was an attempt to save on postage by combining bills. And so a household that had parents and 2 kids, and they each had cars, maybe adult children, let's put it. And the adult, it all went to the same address. I'm not being
And one
critical
letter.
here.
I
I'm
don't
just-
know. I don't know.
Yeah.
Well,
I don't know where the bills go. Larry's in charge of sending the bills out. I provide an address with the assessment information.
Right.
And there's a situs address, and then there's a mailing address. Now, what happens when the bills get printed, I couldn't tell you. Now, in the past, we have included our assessment sheets and an envelope in there. I know that that didn't happen with some this year, and we're talking to Brown Printing about that.
well, one of the reasons is that some adults got upset that they received a bill for their children and their adult children. I'm not putting this on anybody, I'm explaining. So I'm just wondering, is there ever a way, there's probably no easy way to take care of that?
I have no idea. I couldn't say because I don't send out bills. We send out the assessment sheet. I don't know what gets put in the same thing or not. I send the information to IT through, or to the clerk's office through IT. It then goes to the collector's office. The collector's office generates bills, and we generate, or actually Brown Printing and Central Bank generate the assessment sheets. They used to be all combined in one envelope. I've understood that it's getting to be too much paper and it won't all go in a single envelope. So we've had to send extras or separate envelope with the assessment sheets. But as far as the bills, I have no idea. I don't handle bills.
I think I got my assessment sheet in the same
Did it still come in
envelope
the
this
same?
year's bill, but I got separate bill for real estate and personal, whereas I think before it all
Yeah.
went in one envelope.
Yeah.
I think
Yeah,
that was the-
there were some issues today. Some people didn't get their assessment sheet until several days after they got the bills, which, you know, I can't account for what they're doing with the mailing and such. We have an agreement yearly that we work with Brown Printing and we work with Central Bank. The files are sent to them and it goes from there. What bills they're putting in envelopes, if they're putting same family members in that, I have no idea. I can't think
Your
of a good
assessment
reason
sheets
to.
go to the collector, but then the collector's office kind of coordinates the mailing of everything.
The assessment sheets actually go, the list goes to Central Bank, and then it goes to Brown Printing for the printing and stuffing, is my understanding. Yeah, this is something we meet on and discuss every year.
I know there were some hiccups in it this year that Larry said he would try and address
Right.
next year. Okay, and salaries, is that where we're at, or anything else?
Well, we have the same issue, I guess, we had a year ago. We have this, in this case, we might call it the yellow category. You're still attempting to find certified residential, certified commercial, correct?
Correct.
You have a certified residential employee,
I have one,
yes,
yeah. And he handles our commercial stuff.
right. So,
A 25-year employee. You just
Yes,
gave him an award.
yes, a very good employee. In fact, prior to my chief appraiser training Tom on the 2013, he had to take that over by himself, whereas she was the main person and he was being trained on it prior to that. But in 2013, he took that on himself and has worked for years now to keep that running, because it is so difficult to find anybody with any training or get anybody to any training. When the appraisal commission changed the rules, it created a situation where people initially had to have a 4-year college degree to become an appraiser. And people aren't going to do that. They're not going to go to college for 4 years and then spend another 3 or 4 years doing appraisal training and make, I don't know, maybe $60,000 a year if they're lucky. So, and it has been released, I think now it's an associate's degree for residential, but it's still a 4-year degree for commercial. But if you don't have that college, even if you hold, like the employee I have who is certified, he can't get certified as a commercial because he doesn't have a 4-year degree, even though he's been doing it for over 10 years on the commercial end and longer than that on the residential.
Chris, given that your certified appraiser is certified residential, but working in commercial, all right, given that, if you hired someone who meets the education requirements to become certified residential, can they ever become certified residential in your office because they wouldn't be working under a certified residential who's doing residential?
That's the catch-22. Now, in his current position, if he had the time, he could supervise them. All you need is somebody that checks their work, makes sure that everything's kept up properly, and signs off on things. I think he did that with the previous employee who ended up leaving. But I have 3 people currently who have the college degrees who could actually become certified as general appraisers. But because I don't have a general appraiser there, I can't train them in that, even if I, send them to every class there is.
Help me on general. I've been talking.
That's commercial, industrial, and
Okay.
any other. The categories are residential, and then the other is called general, and
Okay.
it's commercial, industrial, and any other category.
So instead of calling, we ought to just talk about general versus residential and
We can
not
do that,
commercial
yeah.
versus, okay, fine.
Yeah, I just use commercial because that's the main
Okay.
portion of the work. And it's easier than trying to explain what a general does.
I don't know how you're ever going to get staffed to your dream staff. Your dream staff being certified commercial, doing commercial, certified residential, doing residential, and training others who can come up that ladder.
It's a tough situation. Now, we can get people trained residential, but that's only when Tom has time. And it makes for a very difficult situation. The way it is right now, we're short, those 3 positions and the residential supervisor who just was hired away by the software vendor, which really hurt. And now I'm trying to fill that position too.
Are you having any luck?
No, nothing so far. I've been adding on to every place that the information is out there. We did it to the county. Sheila helped me. She got it on the county website. We're doing Indeed. We're doing the state website. I've contacted the IAAO to see about putting an ad in theirs, which will go, all over the world. Not that somebody's going to come from a foreign country or anything, but there might be somebody who's been a general appraiser who's retired and wants a second retirement.
Follow up, if you're able, you could find a commercial appraiser to hire, and that potentially could free up some of Mr. Bob's
Definitely,
time.
yes.
And then you might be able to work
It would
toward.
be, yeah, it would be much easier for him to train
in-house,
residential,
experience to
yes.
get 'em on, yeah, okay.
Yes, definitely.
Well, just on that line, right now, on your budget, we've got in a salary reserve, similar to last year,
Mhm.
$184,000, which I base that on the number of figures you gave me, if the 2 residential appraisers, around 50,000, if you could find, on these
Mhm.
3 new, potentially 3 new employees, if you can
Yeah.
find them. So that's 50,000 each for the residential, and the commercial, I think you gave me 60 to 65. So I put
65 is
60
what we
so I
had.
put
65.
62.5.
Yeah, 60 to 65
Excuse me.
is what we had.
Yeah, I was thinking that's what we had spoken about.
Yeah, so right now in the salary reserve, it's those 3,
Mhm.
2 at 50, 1 at 62.5 plus benefits. So
Correct.
So right now, for my number, all that is the current salaries plus 4% COLA. So that's all I've got so far. So that's our difference.
Mhm.
Because
Right.
your request for adjustments totals about, I think, about 60,000 or so, 65,000.
That sounds about right, yeah. Yeah, that would be just equalizing with the other county offices,
Just want to make sure.
similar
our figures
employees,
are kind of
yeah.
on base, yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, and I would just ask that, we get those employees up to the level that they're equal to the other offices in the county, And then whatever the other officers are also getting this year, in addition to that, that they also get that. Because they're a hard-working bunch and they do a very good job.
And I think what you've been telling
Salary
other
pool, we
officers,
will,
other department heads, is that we're gonna, probably with HR's help, we will take a look at that and adjust accordingly. Is that kind of what you're, same message to Chris?
I've had several assessment clerks that have moved on, and part of that is because of the salary that they're receiving. And when I started here, I think they were starting at 24,000 or 28,000. I've got some people that came in at that, and now they're maybe low 30s, but they've got 8 or 9 years' experience. And they're finding that they can find jobs at the state making more.
Can you ever become certified?
Me?
Yes,
No, not unless they change the law,
because,
because I don't have a college degree.
okay.
I'm close to it, but I don't have a degree.
I thought you said they sent it to a 2-year,
They did.
so you're close to a 2-year.
I'm beyond a 2-year, but all of the things that I have won't go to that degree because it has to be economics, macroeconomics, or business, I believe. And mine was in law enforcement.
so you'd have to get a new associate degree,
Correct.
yeah.
Are they required to be certified for what positions to be like a residential appraiser? Well, I've got ones on here is all. I don't know, like the twos that you have open, are those required to be certified then, or you just need somebody with experience, a real estate background, something that?
I could use somebody with experience. In fact, if you would be willing to give me one position that doesn't have to be certified as residential, that would be a big plus, especially since my supervisor's gone now from there. That way I would have 4 people working out in the field, and then if I can find a supervisor to run that, or I will run it until that takes place. But the state of Missouri does not require that the assessor's office has certified appraisers. The problem that you, excuse me, run into there is when you go to appeals, if you don't have a certified appraiser at the State Tax Commission level appeal, then you can't have a certified appraisal, and you can't have them speak to that and get the same weight as the person who's coming in, the taxpayer who's coming in and has the appraisal.
So I think the commercial would be more difficult, yeah, to argue
Definitely.
that. But residential, I mean, if somebody disagrees, and you have somebody over there doing hundreds of these a year, and somebody says, hey, my house isn't worth that much, let's review this, I want to appeal it. However, a lot of times y'all take care of that over there, so it
Yes.
doesn't even, sometimes they'll come through BOE, but
Yes.
even very seldom then do they go to the state
Correct.
appeal. So I was just trying to figure out how to get some people over there to help get these appraisals going. I just think that we're not being assessed at the appropriate rates. I don't want to say mine's too low, don't take it that way. But I think across the county, I think they're low, and I think that's a school's a complaint too, and it kind of affects their bonding capacity. And you said you won't do a mass appraisal, which, you know, that's entirely up to you.
It's basically an opinion of value type
And-
thing that we would do.
I don't know if there's a way to do a mass appraisal that it would work across the county to get the values closer to where like the schools agreed to the total valuation, help them with their bonding capacity. But can we roll back their property tax so that it's not a big windfall? It doesn't just raise up everybody's property tax, but it does get their valuation closer to being correct in my mind. And I'm just kind of as an idea.
The difficulty that we ran into was when we did the go live with the company we have now. They had that brick and frame situation, and we've spent part of 21, 22, and 23 trying to get an individual review of every property so we could say, okay, this one has 50% brick, 50. That's what's held us up for the last several years, that and how volatile the market is. I know that about 6 or 8 months ago, there was a thing that came out that said Jefferson City, believe it or not, was the 18th hottest market in the country, which just flabbergasted me. I
That's
found that
Jefferson
hard to
City?
believe. Pardon?
Jefferson City?
Yeah, Jefferson City, Missouri, yeah.
Just the city or the area?
It said the Jefferson City area. Yeah.
Well, there's nothing out there to buy
I
right now,
can't
so.
think of the realtor's name that posted that at the moment, but I'll get it for you if
Okay.
you would like to have it.
I probably saw that somewhere at the real estate, but, yeah, I was just curious because that's one of the complaints that you hear, and I didn't have a perfect answer for him either, and I thought about it. You know, I'm one of the last one that's gonna sit here and say, I wanna raise your property taxes. And I can understand where you're coming from, you don't wanna do that, but I think it might be easier to jack it back up, maybe across the board, and then you can pick areas to go in and do actual assessments on.
But we're
So-
doing that as we speak. I mean, we're going to the different areas and reviewing them and going forward with that. The thing about the valuation going up, we could, I mean, if it goes up and creates a large windfall for the county, we can reduce the county levy, but that has no effect on the city levy, the school levy, or the ambulance, or I'm sorry, not the ambulance, the library district and the fire departments. It won't have any effect on that. So they would see an increase there also. And I know the schools had a couple of big ones in the last couple of years.
If
which-
the assessed valuation increases over 5%, isn't there an automatic rollback of the levy?
I couldn't tell you. Levy's not my
Would that be
bailiwick.
just the county, or would that be
No.
schools, all
Well,
taxing
you-
districts?
You look at each district, in other
Okay,
words.
because that's kind of where I was going with
It's
this.
possible that Blair Oaks would go up 7%, they have to roll back, but maybe Russellville went up 4.2, they don't have a
Okay.
rollback. But the statute kicks in and does not allow a public subdivision to have a windfall.
Is that the Hancock Amendment?
No,
part, or is that something
no.
totally different?
It's totally different.
Okay.
Is that a cap that if they make 5%, anything over that has to be rolled back?
For that political subdivision, not.
Yeah,
All
yeah.
right.
So, I mean,
Yeah, I'm gonna take a 5-minute break after this.
Make sure you weren't passing out or anything back there.
No, I just.
Chief Hoy left
understand it.
already. So,
We're seeing values going up. They've gone up 21, 23. They will be going up quite a bit in 25. I can't tell you how much right now. We're still reviewing that. We'll get information from 23 and 24 that will be involved in that. But I think unless we see a big downturn in the market, you'll see property values going up. And we're trying to keep them within the reasonable amount. I don't think that it's fair to raise somebody's property 50 or 60% in a 2-year period of time.
but if the statute tells you to do that, you don't get to back up and say, that's too much. What's the statute say?
I couldn't tell you exactly what the wording is in the statute. It says we're supposed to work on market value, and market value is a range.
True?
Yeah.
So, I mean, when houses sell at twice what you have on the books and you only raise it by 7.5%, it doesn't make any sense, Chris. I mean, countywide, did we go up like 2%, 3%?
I know that
Without new
the
construction?
13,000 that went up were increased by 7%.
No,
It-
no, no, no,
Terry,
no,
just,
no.
just let me finish talking, okay? It showed a 6% increase because land was not increased, and that accounted for 1%. So things went up, buildings went up 7%. The land did not increase. That's where you get your 6% that you're so happy about.
well, I was just curious if there's some way. I know you said that at the last meeting that you won't do the mass appraisal. And I just was trying to figure out a way to do it to where it doesn't necessarily affect anybody, but it does help some of the taxing districts with the valuation so that they can, better bonding capacity and whatever. That's just the only thing that I got right
Yes.
now to try to work on, so.
It's, part of it is a staffing problem at this point, but that's where we're headed. I mean, we got quite a few in 23, there will be a lot more in 25, and on from there. People are out in the field every day.
The sales ratio study for the most recent sales ratio, State Tax Commission said, said your results did not fall within acceptable parameters.
Yeah, as did 66 other counties in the state.
And of those 66 other counties, I think every one of them but one, or maybe two, have executed MOUs.
Couldn't tell you.
I can.
Okay.
I mean, if you would
You
read
have
the
more
minutes.
information than I do here.
No, it's public. Read the minutes of the Missouri State Tax Commission.
I don't have time to do all that.
Well-
I'm trying to run an office
Okay.
with
Yeah.
short staff.
We're doing budget.
Yes, sir.
You let me know before the end of the year
Yes, sir.
that
I will let you know
that
when.
we are moving ahead and that it's
Yes,
gonna
sir.
happen. That's
Yes.
all I ask.
Gotcha.
As soon as you do the MOU, please let me know.
Yes, sir. I'll in fact send you a copy of it.
Anything else on budget?
I don't think so.
I would ask again that, equalize my employees with the rest in the county and whatever extra we're giving the other offices, let's get that for them too. Like I said, we're a revenue generating office. The more people that I have doing the job, the better the job will be done. When you're working short-staffed all the time and trying to spend all your time training people to get to the point where they can work on their own, it takes manpower to do that. And that's been the biggest problem we've seen for the last 4 or 5 years. Thank you.
Thanks.
Okay, let's take about a 5-minute.
You're slowing down early today.
I am.
But were you down?
Yesterday, really,
Yesterday was too
yesterday
long.
did a job on me.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was,
Sam, I don't know how your knees are, but if you ever try to do something like that?
well, I've had other surgery since the back
Oh, okay,
surgery and the
okay,
hip
well.
surgery, so this is new.
Okay, I understand, believe me.
This is new,
Well, I hope things improve quickly.
yeah.
So as we get the salary thing to talk about now
Yes.
and see if we can
Yes.
pound through that then?
Break and then
Okay.
Yep, about it.
Yep,
So-
yep.
Done? We've
We
gone
don't
through everybody's
necessarily
budget.
agree on a certain rate or price or whatever.
Well,
We can come back next week one day and spend 2 more hours on it if we have to, or to get numbers put together. Oh, you do? Okay, well, that's what I said. Put our heads together and try to find
If
something.
we can get it ironed out today.
The
because
sheriff's
I've
calling
gotta
right now,
get
let's do it now.
Yeah, do it.
Yeah,
Do it now.
because I've got to get a budget to available for public viewing by probably the end of next week, so.
Well, so I'm thinking we got a meeting, commission meeting Tuesday, so if we
I mean, if
want
we
to
have
get stuff
to,
together, we can do it Tuesday
if we still got
afternoon.
some loose ends, we could
That gives
do
me a
it
chance
on
to at least
Tuesday.
get some of
We
these.
could add
Yeah, if we don't get all of them out, we're gonna run to the grid,
He's
so.
looking at 18, 17, 18% on these low ones. and he's-
Like I said, I just try to get those shit, and I don't think it's too far away, turn them things off. So here it goes.
Yeah, some of these are not too bad. These low ones are just what mine.
So here's what that is for average. That's if they're doing 14 appraisals per month, 3, 4 a week. At that rate, well, that would be county. That's why I'm thinking, it's just this way, teaching what we're doing.
Well,
So you enter the stuff in this computer, smash the head together, draw the variables up, puts them in a, column, makes adjustments, and it spits it out.
Right.
adjust it, for instance.
Doesn't hurt if I could just come up there and say.
One thing though, he talks about is inability to retain people is not driven from
Those have to be. Those just have to be. So he's a peer review. I give him this,
And
and
so
I give him
money
this,
is
and
low.
he can fix whatever he wants right now until the
No, that
review is
was,
done.
that's so what.
And then once the review is done, or he
Sure,
gets
that
back.
was-
Because the problem is, we don't know
The one
when
that
it's really
doesn't-
back
yeah.
until we get some.
But she also said.
Will those applicants change this scheme? Probably.
There's not gonna be any people
And she was a favored source, so she's.
in a dead spiral.
Which, was saying that, okay, we were looking at
Well, that doesn't include this one,
Well,
this one, and
and, you
this
know, so
one.
many of them are talking stuff, like that's what the county minimum.
And then we can talk about so.
This number.
All those were built in July, so they're a little different. They're definitely different.
But I'm suggesting setting up a reserve.
They need their, yeah, because of his
For the
additional
sheriff.
assets. Yeah, okay.
For the sheriff. I don't know, it's up to you guys whether you want to do it or not.
These are in there at 16.
Cycle. So I would put that in
I think those top people probably, I mean,
fix those or not.
And they're.
I think you almost got to.
Yeah. But he's asking for it, 1% is only that. So he can figure it out.
Yeah.
Total.
And he's got some.
Well, and Lola just came from.
Even if we don't increase his budget.
Her dad.
Now, really, you know,
Trouble.
but I still don't know how we can,
But his budget number's based on full spend, so.
You are,
he's not
I know, right.
that's still to me though, the sheriff
I understand.
and some of these other are putting
We'll talk about
money,
it.
yeah. So we gotta, let's get that worked out.
Other than the one, they go ahead and get the one.
Well, I think we're, yeah, but I
They
think I
already
put that
did.
in
That's
there.
why, yes, because they're in there.
Yeah.
I mean, give them a
We do
one.
them the same as,
Okay.
but I mean, what Brady and Sam.
I help people.
It's up to, that's what I'm
Yeah,
asking.
but you gotta-
Well, I know, it's up to
Yes.
Okay, well, I know.
But I would put in a reserve.
Yeah, right, so.
Mark, you're the pro from Dover, so,
The what?
don't you remember MASH? The original MASH back in.
Oh,
what?
the movie.
The movie,
Not the TV
and they went to Tokyo to play golf, and so there's some journal on the golf course, he said, who are you? We're the pros from Dover.
I've only seen the movie once or twice.
Oh, that was a great.
I
movie.
watch.
Did you ever watch it, Alex?
I-
The old original MASH?
You gotta go read it.
I watch the old, I don't like new TV. I watch, if I'm watching TV and if it's not news or
Yeah, like
sports,
Turner Classic
it'd be
Media.
like
I
Me
would-
TV with all the MASH or the Andy Griffith
Yeah.
or those kind of shows. So, yeah.
Well, Hawkeye and Trapper, they were the pros from Dover.
They were, okay.
So-
I don't remember, that was in the movie, I don't remember
Yeah, you
that.
got, yeah.
I don't remember that. The only person in the movie that got in the TV show was Radar, right? He was Gary Berghoff?
Yeah, I'm
in the
trying to remember
movie?
if Radar was in it.
I think he was. I think
I
he was
don't
the
know
only
if he would
one.
have been, I think he would have been just a kid. Because that was out in probably 68, 69, 70, late 60s, early 70s.
Well, it had to be,
And
yeah.
then MASH
because the TV show
TV
started
didn't
like
come on
72,
until-
I think, 72 or 73.
Oh, yeah, could have been.
73 maybe.
Yeah.
It ended in the early 80s, so it had about almost a
It was
10-year
getting,
run,
it was
I think.
getting too long.
No, everybody came in and
Two.
said, hey, this gotta be down as a clerk too, that should be higher than that. And we're like, well, that's not.
I'm still surprised they allow All in the Family to be on TV. I'll tell you, being politically correct, that show every now and then will be searching channels.
But the premise of it was
So,
making fun of his, that his views were wrong. That's what
I know,
they were.
but
Yeah.
that might be so.
Yeah.
Nowadays, we've got so many radicals and so many.
Well, yeah.
They're offended by
Yeah,
everything.
absolutely, yeah.
And
I listened to her.
they had a thing on the news this morning where they're starting satanic clubs, after-school satanic clubs in public schools. And if your public school has any kind of religious after-school clubs or meetings or anything like that, then you have to allow the satanic clubs to come in and do the same thing. And I'm like, holy, what, And then
I know we're
that,
being recorded, but school choice. I'm sorry, totally 100% for that. 'Cause the money should follow the student, not the school. That's what I thought, yeah. Allocate the public money to the student and let the parents decide how they want to get educated, so.
So what are you saying, do this or do this?
We had a lot to do
Well,
after
I don't
school.
want to just give in more because of that.
What's that?
We always had a lot to do after
Oh,
school.
offices at the prosecutor. I'd say 10%. That may not be $7,000 difference. These reviewed, yes.
Sure, I'll just-
You were right. We did, Bob, and then.
No, I'm gonna get it if she wants to spend it that way.
Well, they are. What is starting pay of an article right now, roughly?
I started back at my higher rate, but
That's what I'm thinking.
That's what I
Sorry, so that yours some kind of.
Thank you.
Operator one.
But that was, they would still get reviewed for the starting position, because that was his big start.
We made some big changes of those last year,
Oh,
about
we
2
did,
years ago.
but we didn't change it all. We went for the top. That's
Okay,
what you changed.
okay. Hey, the end of the tunnel is in sight.
Nope, that's a train. It'll run you over. Light at the end of the tunnel. No, it's a train.
Okay.
The train.
I just want to clear up two things before we get started. So the MOUs, they have to do with salaries, obviously. So what I understand is we're not doing the MOU on the CCW anymore with the Sheriff's Department. No money.
Well, I budgeted half.
Oh, you
Yeah.
budgeted half?
Oh, I can still do it, I don't have a problem with it.
Yeah, there should be, based on the
Yeah.
figures, there should be enough for half
Yeah, I
next
agree.
year.
All right, I
That's
will
what we
do
put in-
it.
That's what we put in.
Okay,
That's what
good.
I
Yeah,
put.
send it to me.
I moved your number down to half,
Thank
if
you.
you're okay with
Nope,
that.
that's fine, that's fine.
I'll send you a new MOU for the half.
Yes, ma'am.
A recorder of deeds. She had 2 part-time employees that she was paying for. Was that discussed or not discussed? Or did
It's
you
in
have it in your
It's in
budget?
budget. She
Has it-
was okay with it.
Okay,
so, yeah.
so I'm gonna send a new MOU to that.
I don't think it came up in specific discussion, but it's
She's
right
down to
there.
1 in
She's-
part-timer now, so,
She was okay with what's in the budget, so yeah.
okay, I'll get that figure. Okay.
Yeah, as long as we got our kitchen taken care of. Thank you.
Okay, and then we'll go to overall salaries.
Keep talking on this paragraph, so I don't forget it. Sorry.
You know, y'all know he's not coming back.
I was gonna say, I'm not gonna talk till you.
That's the last time we'll see him till next year.
just keep going, I can hear you.
Well, you guys have tossed around a lot of stuff, a lot of different ways. The county's been very generous in the last couple of years with COLAs and pools of money and changing people's salary across the county. I'll just throw out this proposal. You guys can do with it what you want. Right now, the auditor has in the budget a 4% COLA. You've talked about a pool. A pool, be it, if you would do a pool based on 1% of the current budget salary per department. And then, on top of that, set up a salary reserve line item in each fund based on 1% of the salary, total salary line. Like for GR, that would be about 70,000, okay? We'll talk about EMS, sheriff, and road and bridge in a minute. They're kind of special. But the departments that need to go for a review to use that reserve line would be building maintenance, health, Pringer, PA, I would assume child support, and then the assessor's office is the ones I've got.
That agrees with my list.
Okay. Now EMS,
Assessor is a different fund, just technically.
it is a
It's
different
not part
fund.
of the general fund.
Yes, it would have its own 1%.
Did you say clerk?
He did not mention anything about things being out of line.
No, it said adjustments on his.
He's at,
Yeah.
he's
Yeah.
asking him, and he and Larry,
And-
collector, asked for, and
And public
Ralph
administrator,
asked for some.
yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so,
To me, they
Adjustment
can
and not-
satisfy that with that 1%.
okay.
If they think their positions are out of line, they can satisfy that with that
Okay,
1%.
okay, that's what I was just,
Yeah.
because I knew we had got,
I mean, it wouldn't be enough for everything the collector asked for. Clerk
Well,
would
we had
be
some that asked
close.
a lot more than others, though,
Right.
and some that asked for none.
And that's why you have
I'm
to
just
be
kind of going
consistent.
across the
Public
board.
administrator,
Yeah.
he'd be close to getting what he wanted on that
Okay.
1%.
If I gave everybody what they wanted, we don't even need to do this.
Right.
No, I
Right.
mean, it's just what they request, what they're requesting.
Well, we want to be consistent. not fair, but consistent. But anyway, 1% would help them figure out their problems. Now let's go to EMS. EMS says, and I agree that his grid is his grid, and we have to live with that. You approve that. So basically, he had adjustments he wanted to make. 1% would be set aside in a reserve for those after they go through review. If that's the way I heard you guys wanted those to go through review. His ask was 21. 1% of his total salary would be about 23.
He had one of them that was, in my opinion, going to affect the grid, and two of them that were going to be adjustments for their standby time, for lack of a better word.
I mean, whether you want those to go through review or not, I think the one, we
I-
talked about the communication.
I was going to take the 1% and say, here you are. If you want to make adjustments to somebody else, or if you want to use it to adjust their pay because of whatever reasoning, I'll kind of leave it in their court on that.
So give him 1%
Do
as
do you
well.
not want?
That's just my initial
communication
thought.
one? I thought I heard the communication.
Communication, and he'd also asked for his
That's,
What do you want
somebody-
that?
yeah.
Do you want her to do some legwork on the review of that? I mean, that's just because of this, the amount, I would think you might want to, but that's up to you, if you want to leave it up to him.
As far as the job and justifying that pay, I'm not
Right.
putting it in there for that, but if we give him the 1% and that's where he wants to make one of the adjustments as well,
Okay.
that's just where I'm coming from on it. I don't know if you're all
And that comes
thoughts.
out,
I'm with him.
Okay,
okay.
so I still think
so
we need
his would
some
be a
backup
pool,
information.
not a reserve.
But yeah.
In other words, let him use it what how
Well-
he sees fit. That's kind of what we're doing with this 1%.
For the other-
There's, yeah, 1% pool would be, okay, here,
Fix your problems.
department head, elected official, you put that where you want, yeah.
Okay.
Is that what you want to do
Yes.
with EMS too?
Yes, and then the reserve would be something totally different.
Right, reserve would be they'd have to go through,
Okay.
Okay, then does EMS need the reserve or just leave it in their salary, a 1%?
We need some kind of reserve because I think he's gonna wanna still look at that dispatcher position,
Yes.
right?
Yes, that's my understanding.
Okay, we'll work out that, but we're only talking 1%,
So-
which is about what he's asking for. Okay,
so give him both a pool and a reserve?
no,
No,
No, just pool.
just the pool, okay.
yeah, or just the reserve, wherever you want to
Well,
put it.
Well,
Wherever you want to
well,
put it.
Yeah.
to me, the difference, the pool is, here's the money,
Right.
department head, elected official, you do what you want. The reserve is what's gonna have to come back through
Yes,
That's,
the commission request.
that's the way I'm looking at it.
so are you
So
okay
get
with that not
EMS the
coming
pool.
back?
Yeah.
You're okay with the EMS not coming back and asking you?
If he wants to come back and have us review the dispatcher position that he wanted that increase on, then yes. I would say that goes through HR.
So you want
and
a
us.
reserve for his, not pool.
At this
Because you want
point,
him to come back and get your approval.
we got plenty of time for this one because theirs don't take effect till July.
Oh, that's true, yeah.
So let's put it in reserve
Okay,
for budget
okay,
purposes.
okay.
Okay?
Yeah,
Does that work for you all?
that's true, yeah, yeah.
That's- I mean, I think
It
he's
was-
still gonna wanna
To me,
review
it was a
that.
time factor, but yeah, you're right.
That, I think that's, the
Yeah.
one for the dispatcher supervisor is a grid changer.
Yeah.
That's just.
It
what-
should be.
That's ones that I think need to go through HR. So,
Okay, yeah,
Yeah.
that's good.
Let's do that, then we'll put it in the reserve. Now, the sheriff, he's a different monster too.
don't say different.
And he's ugly too.
So, you seen what he wanted as far as the changes.
What?
I wanted to buy a grid changer on Purple Wave.
His current, the way I look at it, 1% would be about 48,000. He's asking for 54. You could either make him live within that 1% or it's pretty close. With his positions not being filled all the time,
I'm
it's
staying
not
with
that
my
much.
1% and being consistent
But you're
across the
not-
board. I know that's not getting you every bit that you wanted.
No, sir, it's
But-
not, but you're not, the part of the salary line is benefits.
Yeah, I'm not counting any benefits in these totals, by the way.
Yeah, I think you have to, that comes out of our salary lines, why wouldn't you count that?
Well, I'm just trying to come up with a dollar amount of what
Yeah,
is available.
increased salary and benefits will go with it.
Yeah.
So,
Right, but if you're gonna use a 1% pool, the pool would come from the salary line and all the benefits, because we're paying for that.
Well, if it does, it'll get smaller then.
Well, it actually goes up.
Okay, well, either
For
way.
simplicity, I think we're just talking salary.
I was just
Because then
a
if-
salary line,
if
'cause there's
something
gonna be-
changes, obviously the benefits have to go up. We have no choice, yeah. So, does that make sense?
Yeah, the 48's not gonna be enough. I need 65.
Sorry. I'll get you 48.
Yeah.
So the
That's my
77 employees
recommendation.
that were affected with the step promotions are okay, but the rest of them can't have it.
However, you're gonna make the changes with that money is the way I was looking at it.
Okay.
And I don't have yours right in front of me yet, hold on. Where's the,
And again, it's close, not quite there, but, and what he's talking about, the 65 is including benefits.
Yes.
Yes,
Yeah.
because he's looking at his bottom dollar of his fund.
So if
basically.
we're not including benefits for the salary I'm gonna raise, then I'm fine. I'm good with it. 'Cause I
So-
can make it probably work.
if you wanna do the steps and then take whatever's left over from that to make adjustments to get your spread between the
48 and 54.
the
something.
sergeants and the captains or whatever.
Be able to do it
And
100,000.
it may not get you 7,000 like you had before, but if you can get them to 5,000 now and then we can look at that still in the future.
That's not enough spread between the ranks. EMT to paramedic is 18,000.
That's a whole different,
No,
whole different animal there.
17,000. It is the same.
No, it's not.
And you have the wide variety, so you can move up and down there without pushing up
There's,
against the.
there's difference between EMT and paramedic. An EMT cannot move up to a paramedic unless they have different training and pass certain things,
Paramedic
so.
and battalion chief, 16,000. That makes my story better.
Okay, so
Okay,
let's
we're
go from
not gonna
sergeant to
coordinate all
captain.
these departments,
No,
because
we're
we
not.
haven't been before. So we're not gonna do that unless we get a study over all the whole county, to me.
I
But-
know it's not gonna be perfect, Sheriff, but that's, I'm just going with the 1% right now. It's a number to work with.
I am-
Now, we'll go on to Public Works. They're a little different too, because you guys enacted their career plan, which is a little different. So, and the only thing I would suggest is the 4, the 1, the career plan, but then only set up a reserve in that fund for the start, not, because they have the career plan.
Yeah, but if we change the starting salary for equipment operator 1,
That can be addressed
we're
then.
saying that that discipline is now that much more. But in my mind, if you're a 1, 2, or 3, you know, we gotta look at them all. We can't look at just that one.
But there is still quite a gap between there too.
So, 8,000 between a 1 and a, the way the career path plan is now, it goes from 32 to 36 to 40, so it's 8.
That one I was gonna run through Sheila as well.
And that could be adjusted at any time as far as if she comes up with, even in general fund, all these departments, and this 70,000, 1% is not gonna do it, we address it then. We take it out of contingency, they make a decision, you know, it's not live or die with that amount. I'm just trying to come up with an amount.
An amount to put
To
in
be
there.
consistent, a
What amount are you saying
1%.
of overall?
But yours, I was changing a little. Yours was just gonna be a reserve for the starting, to be reviewed for the starting, but I guess we could put a 1 in there too. And keep it 1 across those 3 departments, even though they have their own pay scale for the reserve. And then 1% for the rest of the general fund too, based on the total salaries for
But it's
those
still in
funds.
reserve, so it's still gonna go through.
Yes,
Anything in reserve would have to go through
Yeah,
yes,
the,
yeah, yeah.
anything we put in a pool would be
for them to
divvied
get
up
the
so
department.
as they want, as they.
So are you doing a pool and a reserve?
Yes, yes.
Okay, what are you saying the pool is?
1%.
Department discretion.
Over all
That'd be
departments?
kind of what you,
That's what we had asked for
what,
originally.
yeah, kind of what we're proposing, what Debbie's proposing is basically what you asked for.
Yeah.
4% plus a 1% pool. And then we add to this reserve, which then would have to go through.
Which technically comes out to about another
More
1%.
approved channels.
But how it's used has to be approved and approved.
So you're gonna put a reserve in there based on this reason, doesn't matter why, and it'll be there, and then we'll work with Sheila, get through the process to see where we stand, come back to the commission if it's justified to make some changes, and then we have that discussion.
And it pulls out of that.
For the equipment
Yes.
operator 1. That's the one that I think needs to go through
And if he
HR.
feels like, or they feel like it changes the upscale, then you guys will have to make that decision.
What I'm recommending is that we look at the whole career path plan sure that the salaries for each job title are appropriate.
So your 1%, and you requested a 1% adjustment on yours, just flat across. So basically, you'd be able to do whatever you wanted to, because that's what we're gonna put in the pool
Yeah.
with that. Sheriff's was a little different, because he had some certain positions he was wanting to take care of, and that's where I see, that's how he gets to pick and choose how he wants. You also asked for some more for the equipment operator one, but that's the one that would go through Sheila.
I used equipment operator one as a, I didn't have.
Official request, but
No.
yeah,
Yeah.
you'd like for us to take a look at that.
I used equipment operator one as a example. So if we look at equipment operator one and just that, and my initial thought is, initially right out of the gate, we probably ought to adjust it with the COLA. Okay, so instead of 32, it's now 33.5, let's call it that, okay? But and that's a number specifically in the career path plan. As we look at that number, go along with what we talked about, just the grid and adjusting that with COLA too, I think we need to look at each number and make sure that does it adjust with COLA as well?
And I think those have to come back to you guys because the career plan was approved by you guys. So if they want to, any of these departments, if they want to increase their career plan, they need to bring that back to you. And they need to bring up not just what we got for a COLA, but what the CPI really is. That's maybe what we need to adjust their career plan by.
That's not gonna be just theirs then, that's gonna be
Right.
sheriff, EMS.
That's what I said, all of them, but they need to
So-
bring them
Okay, I
back to you.
thought you meant all of just
So let
public works.
me bring it full circle here. So our career path plan, it has job titles and it has dollar amounts per title, okay? And it has a progression to get from 1 to 3 or whatever. With a grid county-wide, I don't think we would list dollar amounts in the plan. It would just be a level 1, 2, 3, and on up. And so we would know, and we would have a different schedule that would have those amounts.
And that'd be fine, whatever you guys work out as.
From having
Yeah.
to reproduce the grid.
That would be our preference. We didn't have it when we presented it a year and a half ago, but that would be our preference. That way, we're not having to change the plan every time a COLA changes it or whatever. We just,
Well, once that review's done, I mean, that whole plan could come back before them to be approved or not approved.
and so that would be the salary reserve. You're gonna put a placeholder in there for now, and then we'll just come back and have the conversation later once we get through the process.
That's right. That's the way I envision it.
Derek, I'd take this and I'd run.
I think it's potential for an additional 1%.
Right. The total to work with. Now, we can, are you okay? We're gonna,
I think I am. Is the commission, do you
Right.
understand where I'm going with it?
I do. There's so many moving parts here. You know, some directors and some elected officials are concerned about compression, all right? Okay, I understand. However, when you do a 4% COLA for somebody at 30,000 and you do a 4% COLA for somebody at 70,000, that's decompression. They got wider apart. Now, I've never heard anybody say we shouldn't let them get, you like to take wider apart, but you don't like to take narrower together.
you don't like to take a flat dollar amount across the board.
And the state government at times has said, you know what we're gonna do is we're gonna do a 2% COLA. You could probably go back to this some of your days, 2% COLA for people at 30,000. People at 50, you get nothing.
Zero, yeah. I
Yeah.
got hit by that.
Right.
I got
As a matter of fact, there were some people who, after the COLA, some people jumped over somebody who didn't get a COLA. Just the math did it. So
And
be
we-
careful what you wish for when you don't like
The compression.
compression, but you've been accepting decompression. That's,
So I'm totally
That's-
in agreement with what you're saying.
Yeah.
What I want to be careful about is just arbitrarily adjusting the entry level up a set amount, whatever it is.
and stopping with
And
that.
then, yeah, and
Yeah.
that's it. We
Well-
need to make sure.
But
Yeah.
that's to look
Yeah,
at that
but you know,
difference.
Yeah.
you can have a hybrid here. If we're talking about operator, what do we call it, equipment operator, you've got a 1, 2, 3. I could see a good case made for if you increase 1, you increase 2 and 3.
Right.
Now, because you increased 3 operator, do you go over and increase somebody else who's about 3 doors over and called a planner? Not necessarily. That's right.
Totally different.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And-
but it doesn't affect.
And the other thing
maybe.
on a county-wide grid, some entities, some departments, probably departments, let's just stay with departments, they may not have a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. They might have a 1, 3, 7, 9, because when you go from EMT to paramedic, you've probably jumped more than one level. It's hard to make one grid fit. I don't know with the feds, it's all this GS9, GS10, and so, I don't know if every department has to go GS9, or can you go from GS9 to GS13 when you get the promotion, or the step? I don't know.
Oh, you can make it
Probably,
as complicated as you
probably
want.
some multiple
It's a
jumps.
military-
Yeah.
It's a military table, how they do it. They do years of service and then your rank, and wherever that meets, that's what you get.
Kind of the school districts.
And I'd be all for that.
Well, yeah, because you're kind of military.
Right, and and then I don't have to worry about it.
Right,
But it
everybody
is-
understands it.
It is
Everybody does.
very expensive. But I'm willing to do it if you guys are willing to pay the money.
Well, it
Very
shouldn't-
expensive
it
to pay them or to
shouldn't- You mean to
implement
get
it,
the
or
study
both?
done, or?
No, to set it up on that.
Oh, that's
grid,
nice.
It'd be very expensive.
Melody's good.
Probably give that
Because
to
of
them
education or
Saturday.
because
Melody's
of
good.
years of service, or?
Yeah, I said, I don't know how we're gonna fit this on one page.
I mean, it shouldn't
Melody
be
can-
different. The
Melody can
market
do
for
it.
that
Yeah.
job is the
That's
market
good.
for that job.
Because you're setting up the time of service at the top, so every time you go up a year, it pops it up.
Him left me in a
Well,
room
then,
there.
then you don't get COLAs anymore, because to me, the
I'll get
COLAs
it.
are
Well,
your
the
years of
military still
service.
gets COLAs, but I'm good with that too, if you're gonna
Yeah.
do it that way.
I mean,
because-
but that has to be somebody else besides us.
I know you already move on to the next one, just real quick.
Yes.
I
It's
think
all part of it.
I'm good with where you're at. I'm in agreement and following. Question on the pool, what is the requirement for using the pool? Do we need to come back to the commission? Or is it at our discretion?
The pool part, it would be exactly what you had put on paper, and because we're doing 1%, and if that comes up, it should come up to exactly what you put in here. Your requested adjustments just had a flat 1% down board.
Beyond the COLA
And-
before, so.
So that's how you want to give it, that's probably.
That's up to them.
We-
department.
Yeah,
If
that's-
another department wants to give more than 1% to somebody and nothing to.
If they want to
somebody
fix some
else,
of their
yeah.
problems now and they feel that's the need, they can use that 1%. Will that get people out of line? May, but it's just what they feel is
What do you
important.
mean get them out of line? More
I
out
mean,
of line
like,
than
if you actually really give it all to one person and you, it could make
I'm
that
betting
job
Saturday.
different.
There, thank you.
So I'm,
I think you'll like that.
Okay, I want to go back to the sheriff, just because the sheriff's a little different with,
He
you
is.
guys have basically
Period.
established his grid. You guys have established that except for the top three. So if you want to enact the top three and call it good and say those are been reviewed, then go ahead with the 54 and be done with that.
Actually, Betsy did the figuring, and 1% of our current, just our salary line is 56,972. The adjustment and longevity salary request for us is, since I don't have to worry
Not based
about
on yours.
benefits, it's 54,534, so I'll be good.
Well, it's not based on the salary scale we had here, so.
You're talking about your totality of the salary line, right? Just take
Oh, I
1%.
don't have the grand total in there, do
I put it in mine, 2.4. Yeah, you got it right there.
I? Is that the grand total?
This is current, this is not the 4% on top, and then put the one on top of that.
That's not the grand total, that's just the total for the 704. Yeah, that's not the grand total of all the departments.
It's not that.
I don't have that down there.
Okay,
Schedule.
well,
So if that's the 1%, that'll, and I don't have to worry about the benefits, then I'm good. That gives me the 54,534 that I need to make my adjustments for my current grid, as well as the step raises that you agreed to in September.
in September of last.
Yeah, 23. All right, this September.
I'm just sticking with the 1% because otherwise if I
Okay,
don't, then
we'll be
Eric's gonna come
fine.
back up here and say, hey, I got some more I'd like to do, can I get 1.1?
I
And
just
the
took
Now we
bottom
go, hell
number.
no.
recorder,
That was just-
clerk, everybody come up here. So that was just my
No,
number to work
that's
on.
just-
If we
That's
were at
just 704. That's just
1.1
a
across the board up, it's whatever number.
Well, I couldn't have. No, I took the 4 and divided it by, I took the 1.90, 190, oh, you don't have it on there. The total 4%, I divided it by 4. And that's where I
Oh,
came
is
up
that where
with.
it came from?
Yeah.
Again, I might not have the grand totals.
Well, we'll figure it out.
Yeah.
just took your 4 and divided by 4.
No, that doesn't integrate.
Anyway, we'll figure it out. So do you guys kind of agree with that? And then Mark can work up the 4 COLA, 1 pool based on current salaries. Again, the 4% is based on current salaries. This is not compounding on each other. The reserve line will be based on 1% of the total salaries for that fund. So we can come back with that amount with them. And then again,
Yeah, that's like a placeholder, and then of
Yeah.
course, that can always be
changed if it comes up.
increased, whatever.
Yeah.
Sounds right so far, yeah.
And those departments, maintenance, health, Pringer, public administrator, child support, and the assessor will have to work with Sheila.
When you say public administrator, it was prosecutor.
Oh, I'm sorry, PA.
Prosecutor.
Yeah, I'm sorry, yes, you're right. EMS, they won't actually have the reserve, that you'll just, that 1% is basically those requests, except for the communication.
No, we're gonna have that
Oh,
one position
I'm
in
sorry.
reserve,
In
right?
reserve.
Yes,
You want
yes.
that in reserve, not pool.
I have it here, in reserve, yes,
Yeah.
okay. The sheriff, 1%, and it's
Pool, that's.
Pool
Need
money.
reserve, right?
Right.
Yeah.
We don't need no reserve in that fund.
All right.
The Public Works, 1%, will be in the budget as the pool, and then there'll be a reserve of 1%.
Like I said, you take it and run like hell.
So Mark will put those figures in and get that all, give you final totals
Starting next
and,
week, we'll
yeah.
start working on.
So
final
that
budget
reserve,
numbers.
yeah,
Yeah, for them.
they're gonna go through HR.
yes.
If we use it all for all them positions that we have, that were requested during these budget discussions,
Mhm.
and we run out, then we don't have anything at the end of the year or in the middle of the year in case somebody comes to us out of the blue. Because we had was it the reserve we had this year? And we had a couple of situations where
Yep.
it was very handy to have that. So
Well-
is that gonna build anything in there for,
It won't unless you want to. I mean, because I was just thinking of a, 1%.
It'd be like a place,
So-
it'd be just like a placeholder.
so the
for
1%
now. It could be, you might
reserve
need more.
is across the board too? It's not just the 1% to, or it
It's
wasn't
per
just the
fund.
amount that they asked for that position?
So
Okay.
1% actually might
Okay.
still have some left in the pool.
Well, now you might want to prioritize, because poor Sheila, you might want to prioritize to her, maybe not today, but at some point, which department you want to go first, because they're all going to be running to her now.
I
No.
think they all need to know what she's gonna need to proceed, and then,
Okay.
as you get stuff, you just, because I think the sheriff's already got stuff together for his, that
Yeah.
if he wanted to go through his grid stuff.
Treasurer's already done.
Some
all
of them
the
are done.
descriptions, that's the big piece.
I mean, if we're talking about changing the whole grid for public works, that's gonna be everybody.
Well, they're
So now on
planning that
juvenile
as we go.
detention center,
Yeah,
what are we doing with juvenile detention center?
she's just has all their job descriptions, so she's gonna,
Okay.
I think their biggest issue is the youth specialist. They've already kind of
Okay.
fixed the DJOs,
Okay.
but
Okay.
it's just the youth specialist.
So it'll be reserved.
And that's gonna be an easy review, I think.
Okay, I just want to make sure everybody's covered.
Are
I
you
will
guys,
say 1% reserve though, well,
not fix
doesn't even
everything?
come close to
Nope.
covering everybody's request. Because you've got Pringer alone, their requested adjustments is 129,000. 1% is gonna be 70,000.
Yeah.
So.
Well,
total for
the
whole
assessor's
fund.
office had a huge amount too. that they
Yeah, right, it
requested,
won't
but
be, right.
Oh, it won't touch the
Right.
assessors.
There's nothing saying that they're gonna change that amount. That's the
Right,
pool we
right.
have to work with.
Right.
That's where I'm at.
But I'm just saying, to me, the salary reserve is just kind of a placeholder. Now, if through the process you decide.
And you can change that 1% to a 2, but then
you
it kind of
need
messes
more,
up the other
then
funds.
of course you can always do budget, get into contingency budget adjustments during the year.
Right,
How much is 1%?
70,000.
for GR,
GR.
without benefits.
I mean, across the board, if we said reserve, we're just going across the board for the county and put it in the reserve account, 1%. 70 for general.
70 for general, law enforcement, what is
It's
it,
50.
50s?
And,
23
well,
for
hold on,
EMS.
with law enforcement it's different because we
Well-
can't use that for general.
Assessor would be
Oh, yeah.
Assessments would
I
be a
didn't
little
know
different
there's-
too, so.
5,000.
5,000.
And he's asking for 65.
I mean, it's not that, it's not
Okay, so what would that do to the budget if we did the 2% to give us something? Or we just worry about doing budget adjustments in the middle of the year?
About 170,000, 1% for all funds, just salary.
If we did 2%.
But
And
I
the
wouldn't
reserve.
suggest us going there because that's gonna mess up the sheriff and the EMS. I don't think I think you stick with a 1 and we address the things as they happen and move it from contingency. Please.
I mean, right now,
So we're gonna have to do budget
To me-
adjustments.
to me, right now,
We're only on 200 and
if you
something.
decide 4% COLA,
Okay.
1% pool,
Yeah,
that's a given. That goes out to everybody,
Right.
no questions asked. And everything else, you want to
is, comes through Sheila,
further
and then we,
review, adjustment.
So say the,
The money, you know, there's money in contingency you can always use if you need more than just the 1%. Right now, if we do 1%, that's kind of placeholder for.
If
Okay,
you
so say
do
the
what
pros-
everybody asks, we're way over 10, 11%.
so say the prosecutor's office comes through HR, we do that, and we need to make some big adjustments on that. If it's more than what we have in there, we're just gonna do a budget adjustament then.
Yes,
You guys approve it.
if you all
Yeah,
approve it.
that-
yeah.
Okay. Well, I'm not saying they will come in, or, you know, even maintenance, say the maintenance guys come in at a lot more or something, and just use that as an example.
I mean,
think
we're
that
very
works for
lucky,
me.
we're very appreciative. I know I am as a county employee, just the 4 was great. The extra 1%, depending on what the department heads wants to do. And then to know that you guys are seriously considering a reserve to reevaluate positions, employees should be very appreciative. The only other thing I'll mention is department heads, they're under your all's discretion. So I will give you that list of department heads, and then you can look at those accordingly. And then I've heard comments throughout the budget process of our benefits. I think the county has great benefits, but in this upcoming year, I think me and Sheila will dig in, compare ourselves to the city, compare ourselves to the state, and anybody else out there that's listening wants to bring a benefit to us that we would consider, you know. I mean, because we want to keep our people, not only salaries, but the benefits, so.
I can testify our medical is fantastic.
Well, and I think nobody is looking, maybe not nobody, I think that's an overbroad generalization. I don't think 90% of our people really consider the value of the benefits. If we did total compensation statements for everybody that included salary, their benefits, their holidays and vacation pay and all that, the value is way up there, far higher than anybody usually realizes.
And it's been a couple of years, I haven't looked at the retirement systems about changing those. It comes with a big dollar amount price on changing some of those, but I'll be glad to do that, to bring it to your attention.
I think your paycheck stub shows.
It
that
shows
the county
everything.
take benefits too, so
Yes.
you kind of get an
Nobody's
idea.
really
looking at
looking at those, I don't think they don't really take it into consideration. It's an assumed
Yes,
benefit
unfortunately it
by
is.
most people.
But it is ever, in the private world, that's ever going away.
Oh, my gosh.
And so,
Yeah, is
so
that
we are
part
very
of that
lucky.
an employer would cover dependents?
Yes.
50%.
So we'll go on your direction with that too. But if you want Mark to get the final totals and then submit that to you guys, and then we'll be ready for the public hearing and have a copy of the budget ready for public.
So, let's,
A week from today.
Yeah.
we got commission meeting next Tuesday.
Yes.
Okay, yep.
Let's just add on bottom of there,
Okay.
budget discussion in case we need to talk about something or clean something up or
Yeah.
You can do that.
change something.
Good idea.
That way it's
Good
just,
idea,
it's
Jeff.
there, and then hopefully that by Friday you can have your stuff that you need.
I need to get a final budget
So
by
like,
Friday to meet the.
but if we have any changes
Statutory
Tuesday,
deadline, yeah.
Tuesday would kind of be a good drop dead date. So if you're listening, you got something that we missed or didn't get in there, or we cut or whatever, and you wanna try to discuss it, then we'll do that Tuesday.
Yeah,
All right, it's on there.
okay.
That wasn't as bad as I thought.
No, that's
You
much
wanna-
better than
John's eyes are
yesterday.
bleeding.
Much better than yesterday.
Drive home first.
Much better than
I had
yesterday.
my wife pick me up. I know better than to do that after, budget.
So do we have anything else?
I'm good. If you are.
I would
Good.
entertain a motion to stand in recess.
I'll make the motion to stay in recess until 4:30.
I'll second it. All in favor? Aye.
I,
I'm waiting for that one no vote there.
Are you done for the day or coming back?
I think we're done for the day.
stick a fork in us, we're done.